accompanied by the sound of the system, suddenly flashed in the panel in front of Sasuke. Freeze directly to this column of Indra Chakra. Special Chakra. Indra Chakra, 100%. Congratulations to host for fully awakening Indra Chakra. Moment. Sasuke felt his eyes become clearer. Pupil power increased a lot in an instant. Indra's chakra seems to have a strong buff to the Sharingan. At this moment, Sasuke felt the enhanced pupil power. I feel that if I meet Itachi again, even if I don't need the prestige, Susanoo, I can easily defeat it. On the contrary, the power of the current prestige, Susanoo, will increase several times or even dozens of times. It might be possible to explode the tailed beast bomb with one hand. Thinking of this, Sasuke had a smile on his face. And now, Itachi looked at Sasuke with a very lonely expression. It's over. It's all over. Unexpectedly, his eternal Mangekyo lost to Sasuke's Mangekyo. This is something Itachi never thought about. It is absolutely impossible for such a thing to happen. Eternal Mangekyo Sharingan is a stronger pupil technique than Mangekyo Sharingan. Why did it become like this? Itachi didn't understand. Did Sasuke's talent really exceed the limit? Or, Sasuke is only because of wood style. And at the moment, Sasuke's prestige, Susanoo, is being disarmed. But at this time Sasuke was surprised by another prompt popped up by the system. The tip is: congratulations to host for fully awakening Indra Chakra. Please choose whether to awaken Rinnegan now. Currently, Sharingan has evolved to the 5th stage. If you choose to evolve Rinnegan immediately, then Sharingan will never be able to continue to improve. The maximum level of the blood succession is 10 levels. Tip: the higher the level of Sharingan evolution, the stronger the power after awakening Rinnegan, and the power of the special pupil technique obtained will also be improved. Yes, no. Awaken Rinnegan. Seeing this prompt from the system, Sasuke frowned. Now I can directly awaken Rinnegan. Good. But the highest level of blood succession boundary is the 1st stage, and now I have just reached the 5th stage. If you directly awaken Rinnegan now, you can indeed get a more powerful force zone. But in this way, the power of the awakened Rinnegan may not be very good. But Sasuke wants to become a god. If there is any defect, how can it be called a god? Think here. Sasuke chose no wait for Sharingan to reach the 10th stage, then awaken Rinnegan. It would be a pity to evolve now. But although he can't get Rinnegan right away, Sasuke can awaken Rinnegan anytime and anywhere as long as he wants. This harvest seems to be greater than imagined. Another opportunity to develop S-level ninjutsu was not used, and then use the ninjutsu laboratory to develop the yin-yang escape technique, then the strength will be improved to a higher level. Now Sasuke can't wait to develop S-rank ninjutsu. But now the Itachi is still there, and it must be completely terminated. Sasuke slowly walked towards Itachi. You lose. When Yan Itachi opened his mouth, but closed it again. He stared at Sasuke silently. Looking at Sasuke in front of him, Itachi sighed, you win. So, don't interfere with me in the future. I won't interfere with you. Well, after speaking, Sasuke intends to leave. But he glanced back at Itachi. Leave the Akatsuki organization. Do something you want to do. Although Itachi seems to be very indifferent, he is also a guy who has been completely brainwashed by the 3rd generation. For the sake of the village, he killed his own people. Although Itachi didn't really do it, but he acquiesced in such a thing, just to keep his younger brother. Although this may be the only way at that time. But for Itachi, the village seems to be more important than the family. If I let Sasuke choose, I'm sorry, but the family is more important than the village. No matter how bad the family is, a home is a home. Never give up on your home. However, Sasuke did not comment on Itachi's choice. Sasuke. I can't stop you though, but I won't just watch you being swallowed by power like this. Hearing that Sasuke was a little speechless, isn't it all over? Why is this guy still pestering him? Do you really have to force yourself to kill him? Sasuke turned around. And at this moment Itachi continued, I want to return to Konoha. I won't stop you, but Konoha will. Sasuke. Is this against yourself? Back to Konoha. You are Konoha's rebel. You too. I did this to tell you that even if you are rebellious, as long as you are willing to go astray, Konoha will accept you again. Put down the butcher knife and become a Buddha immediately? Speechless. Sasuke doesn't think he is a heinous villain. It's just that I want to become stronger and gain more power. How could it be related to this kind of thing? HMPH. It doesn't matter, but I hope you abide by the agreement and don't disturb me. As for where you want to go and what you do, that's your freedom. Although this idiot big brother is a bit annoying. But no matter what, he is also the big brother of his own body, so he can't just kill him with a single blow. This is too cold-blooded. But at this moment, Ju, who heard Itachi's words in the dark, suddenly became gloomy. Itachi knows too many things about the Akatsuki organization. If he returns to Konoha, the plan of the Akatsuki organization will be exposed. Although it wasn't his plan that was exposed, the exposure of Akatsuki's plan would make his plan very likely to fail. Ju slowly retracted his body back into the tree. Obito must be informed of this as soon as possible. Sasuke took 2 steps and came in front of Kimimaro, and Itachi had already left. Just because his pupil power is exhausted, it doesn't mean that chakra is exhausted. And Itachi, who has eternal Mangekyo Sharingan, the pupil power will be able to recover soon. It's not like there will be any danger, but if it's Obito or Nagato who came to the door, that's another story. That idiot actually said to return to Konoha in front of me. Can't we not talk about this kind of thing? Just make up your mind and do it. Don't say it. I don't know if there is a possibility that White Zetsu is watching. Sasuke was speechless. In the end, I have to wipe this guy's ass. What a big brother. But before you wipe your good brother's ass, Sasuke still had to do another thing first. Click directly to open the system interface. Sasuke looked at the system prompt. Yes, no use of ninjutsu laboratory. Now that things have basically been dealt with, of course it has to be used. It is useless to keep it if it is not applicable. When Sasuke decided to prepare for the development of ninjutsu, Sasuke felt his eyes go dark for a moment, and then followed. When he opened his eyes again, he had already entered the ninjutsu laboratory. Looking at the familiar operation interface in front of you, Sasuke's heart was full of ecstasy. This time, there are quite a lot of techniques that Sasuke can develop. After all, the current Sasuke possesses 5 kinds of escapism, and at the same time, also has yin-yang escapism. Under such circumstances, Sasuke can basically develop any ninjutsu he wants. But basic 5-element ninjutsu, basically Sasuke is no longer needed. Because there is no need to waste an opportunity like a ninjutsu laboratory developing ordinary invisible escapism. After all, up to now, even if Sasuke relies on himself, he can develop some techniques. The talent is there. Today's Sasuke already knows what the basic principle of escapism is. Why does the system keep raising the level of nature transformation? After all, the so-called technique is actually a test of the ninja's grasp of nature transformation. For example, fire style. As long as the ninja has mastered the nature transformation of fire style, he can basically spew flames. And what is the shape of the flame? Will it spread out, and the power will not be concentrated? This is the function of the technique. To study a technique is to find a way to concentrate the power and then perform a certain form change. At the same time, it is necessary to strengthen the power as much as possible. For example, spitting out a fireball is called a fireball technique. Spitting out a fire dragon is called fire dragon technique. After understanding the principle of jutsu, Sasuke is afraid to develop any ninjutsu. However, Wudun's ninjutsu is easy to develop, but Yin-Yang Dun is different. Please select the escapism attribute to develop. Single attribute ninjutsu development is not restricted. Dual attribute development is currently optional. Water, ugly. Fire, yang. Snow, yang. School, yang. Looking at the optional dual attribute development, it is basically a single chakra with 5 basic attributes. Add Yang Dun, or add Yin Dun alone. Sasuke probably understands from the options provided by the system. First of all, the reason why the 2 attributes of water and earth can be developed independently is because Sasuke has the blood succession limit of wood style. Therefore, it is possible to develop techniques of both water and soil attributes. Secondly, a single attribute plus Yin Dun or Yang Dun can be used. And finally, what Sasuke cares most about also appeared. Dual attribute development optional, Yin, Yang. Seeing this option, Sasuke doesn't need to hesitate anymore. Just click on the option of Yin and Yang. Determine whether to develop ninjutsu with Yin and Yang attributes. Sure. Sasuke silently said yes in his heart. Integrating Yin-Yang attribute chakra for host. The mode of operation seems to be a little different this time. Shouldn't the laboratory extract its own ideas first? Then carry out the simulation of ninjutsu according to your own ideas, and then supplement the deficiencies in your own ideas to complete the development of ninjutsu? Why this time Sasuke feels as if Different. Could it be that the development of yin-yang done is a bit special? It is indeed very special, and Sasuke is not wrong at all. Because next, the system didn't extract his thoughts at all. 2. Simulating yin-yang escape, please wait. The laboratory has directly started to develop the yin-yang escape technique. What is this? Directly and automatically develop without referring to your own opinions at all. Yet the wait wasn't even that long. Yin-yang escape simulation is completed, whether the host accepts the indoctrination. Come on. Backquote. Although the development of ninjutsu this time, the process is somewhat different from before. But Sasuke also wants to see what the technique of system development is like. As long as yin and yang escape, then it is impossible to be weak, and it will definitely help the current self. However, as the system begins to instill, Sasuke was stunned for a moment. He seemed to understand why the system didn't extract his thoughts. Because, there is only one way to develop the yin-yang escape technique. Other than that, there is no other way to go. So, there is only one direction of development, which means that there will only be one technique developed. The infusion is complete. Please ask the host to perform the second infusion. Start. Every time Sasuke is instilled, he can directly raise the level of ninjutsu by virtue of the knowledge, memory, etc. passed on by the system. And this time, the yin and yang escape technique developed by the system. For Sasuke, it is not dissatisfied, but although there are some small regrets, the effect of this technique. It almost made Sasuke jump up with excitement. The combination of yin done and yang done forms a technique. Possession of power. It turned out to be creating things directly out of thin air and injecting life into them. Just like the original sage of 6 paths directly created the tail beast. And now Sasuke can do the same thing. Because this is the effect after combining yin done and yang done. Creation. Whatever you create, breathe life into it. And having this technique is equivalent to having an immortal body. Because even if Sasuke is beheaded, as long as Sasuke's consciousness is not wiped out instantly, then they can also recreate a body in an instant. Totally. There will be no effect. This is the technique that a god should have. Please host to name this ninjutsu name. Sasuke frowned, although it was different from the technique he imagined to strengthen his combat power. It is even said that it has nothing to do with it, but the ability given to Sasuke by this technique is completely beyond Sasuke's imagination. Creation out of thin air. Then this technique is called yin-yang escape, creation technique. Naming successful. Congratulations to host for mastering yin-yang escape, creation technique, Grandmaster. The 2 infusions directly raised Sasuke's level of this technique to the Grandmaster level. Hands up. Sasuke directly creates a shuriken, which is very simple for Sasuke. But even at the Grandmaster level, the things that seem to be created can't be too big. To put it simply, one time can only create things that are half the size of the body. But this seems to be because the nature transformation level of yin done and yang done is too low, and the level of this technique is not too high. So now we can only achieve this level. But if the nature transformation is raised to the top level, then the level of the creation technique is also raised to the top level, so that one can truly become a god. Creation of all things does not seem impossible. Open your eyes again. Sasuke felt the warmth of the sun and the softness of the breeze. The mastery of yin-yang done gave Sasuke a lot of new insights into the world and even his own body. But let's summarize these things slowly after the fact. With the mastery of yin-yang escape, creation technique, Sasuke can be regarded as practicing immortality. Now it can be said that as long as it is not instantly killed by someone, and the body is completely destroyed, Sasuke can be revived in situ. Now it can be regarded as touching the realm of God. But now Sasuke needs to increase the nature transformation level of Wu Dun as soon as possible, so as to increase the nature transformation level of Yin-Yang Dun. To strengthen the power of the creation technique. The main goal is to strengthen Sharingan's practice and raise Sharingan's blood inheritance limit to the 10th level as soon as possible. In this way, Rinnegan can be opened smoothly. And Rinnegan's pupil technique can also be enhanced. It seems that the next period of time will have to practice hard, even if you don't stay in a special place to practice. But if you have time, you need to start practicing. However, there is one more thing to deal with a little bit. It is for my good brother, Uchiha Itachi, to understand the problems of Akatsuki organization. Now Itachi decided to go to Konoha, and he was very idiotic to say this decision. If this word reaches Obito's ears, it will definitely not allow Itachi to really do that. Even if Itachi does return to Konoha successfully, Obito will still come to him. These guys dare not find themselves easily because of their strength. But Itachi is different. Although he is also very strong, Nagato can maintain a tie with Itachi. Adding Obito and other members of Akatsuki's organization, Itachi might be disabled if he doesn't die. So, the Shao organization still needs to give a joint explanation. Master Sasuke. Master Sasuke. Kimimoro's voice rang in Sasuke's ear. Sasuke turned to look at Kimimaro. What's wrong? No. Nothing. I just watched Master Sasuke. You have been standing still, as if you were thinking about something. If Master Sasuke has any troubles, you can tell me, maybe I can. He is busy. Hearing this, Sasuke smiled. I know, don't worry, there is nothing to worry about. There is one little trouble, but it shouldn't be difficult. Said Sasuke's eyes turned to look to the other side. Although I don't know the specific surroundings, Sasuke has no problem sensing where the line of sight is coming from. Absolutely. Come out. I have something to say to the leader. Hearing that, White Zetsu, who was about to leave underground, stopped. Looking back at Sasuke with some doubts. This guy actually knows his own existence. Is he aware of himself? Impossible. Because of the sacred tree, he is basically an existence that shields perception. No matter how powerful a perceptual ninja is, they will never be able to find themselves. How did Sasuke? Although I don't know where you are, I'm very sensitive to the sight of spying on me. Come out. I won't kill you, you are just a clone, and you are not worthy of my killing. Some words, I want you to bring them to the leader. Hearing what Sasuke said, the White Zetsu avatar also seemed to think it was the same. Walking in the direction of Sasuke, he also wanted to see what this guy Sasuke was going to say. Slowly drilled out from the ground. White Zetsu smiled. As expected of Master Sasuke, it's really scary, and I can feel the sight from me. The battle just now was really exciting, so you saw it and heard it? Sasuke asked suddenly. White Zetsu nodded, of course. That's good. Go and tell the leader, Itachi can't move, I'm here for his business. For Sasuke's command-like tone. White Zetsu didn't answer, but stared at Sasuke silently. Although the strength of this avatar is not as good as Sasuke, even with just one finger, he can be easily stabbed to death. White Zetsu is not afraid of Sasuke either. Master Sasuke. Your defection to the organization is not over yet. Do you still want to help Itachi solve his problems? The death of Deidara and Scorpion is quite a big trouble for the Akatsuki organization. Kimimaro's eyes became a little cold. How dare this guy bargain with them? Is this trying to court death? Sasuke raised his hand to stop Kimimaro, who wanted to teach White Zetsu a lesson. That's right, so I'll get to know it together this time, and tell the leader, I'll go back to the base. I'll go back right away, Itachi is my big brother no matter what. White Zetsu's eyes flickered several times, he froze for a moment. It's not that I was surprised by Sasuke's words, but I had an unexpected harvest. Unexpectedly, with such an indifferent personality, he would still care so much about his elder brother. Now it seems to know how to threaten Sasuke. Uchiha Itachi is a bomb. If you use it well, it is a weapon against Sasuke. If you use it poorly, you will hit the monster in front of you like hell. But as for how to choose, how to make a decision, that should be judged by its other half, Black Zetsu. Think here. White Zetsu nodded. I see, I will convey your words. At the same time, I also hope that Master Sasuke can come to meet soon. I believe the leader can't wait. Rest assured. Sasuke smiled. Okay, get out. White Zetsu slowly drilled into the ground and disappeared before the eyes of the two of them again. Kimimaro looked at Sasuke worriedly. Master Sasuke, do we still have to go back to the Akatsuki base? If that's the case, it's too dangerous, those guys will never let you off, Mr. Sasuke. So what? Sasuke asked back. Are you scared? Kimimaro. Of course not. Kimimaro said seriously. He raised his hand and patted Kimimaro's shoulder, then join me in breaking into Akatsuki's base. Sasuke smiled. For a split second, Kimimaro felt a great sense of satisfaction, because he felt that Sasuke needed him. Also showing a smile, Tien-Fen was very happy. Inside Rain Shinobi Village. Jiraiya. He is currently investigating in the Land of Rain. Although he knows that the Akatsuki organization's base is in the Land of Rain, he doesn't know exactly where it is. Been here for several days. Jiraiya still didn't find any useful clues at all. Until he saw someone by chance. White hair, strange costume, This costume is very similar to Orochimaru's dress. Jiraiya instinctively sensed something strange. He followed up quietly, but what Jiraiya saw made him stunned. Uchiha Sasuke. Is he here? Where is he going? Should be going to the Akatsuki organization base. That's great. Master Sasuke, here it is. Kimimaro gives food to Sasuke. The two rushed to the land of rain all the way, and Sasuke hadn't eaten for almost a whole day. Although with the physiques of Sasuke and Kimimaro, there is no problem at all even if they don't eat for 3 days. But the iron body still needs a little rest. After the two of them had a short rest in the unknown small town of Rain Country, Sasuke looked around suspiciously. Just now. Is it an illusion? He always felt that there seemed to be a strange gaze staring at himself. Could it be that this guy quietly followed up again? Snort. Is he afraid that he won't come? Forget it. Sasuke glanced at Kimimaro, who had finished eating and was about to leave. Let's go. This time Sasuke brought Kimimaro just in case. After all, Nagato owns Rinnegan, and Obito owns Kamui, and the combination of the two is not so easy to deal with. With Kimimaro on the side, it doesn't matter how bad the situation is. Although Kimimaro is a three-tails Jinchuriki, things get even worse once he is discovered. But at this time, I don't care so much. Akatsuki's base is in an abandoned factory outside Rain Shinobi Village. Although Sasuke has only been here once, he is quite familiar with it. This time, instead of making Kimimaro wait outside, they entered together. It was still Konan who greeted me, looking at Konan, who used pieces of paper as wings and descended from the sky like an angel. Sasuke looked at her the same. At this moment, the two looked at each other, and their eyes seemed very complicated. Konan seemed to be wondering how Sasuke had grown taller all of a sudden, from a kid to a handsome man. Even after she saw Sasuke's face again, her heartstrings were twitched a few times. I didn't expect you to plan to leave not long after you joined the organization. People who have left the Akatsuki organization in the past have only one way. To die in battle, and they will be able to leave the Akatsuki organization. Konan said lightly, although the tone still seemed very indifferent, but when he returned to Sasuke, it was far from the regret in Konan's tone. It seems to be pity yourself. The leader should be very angry. Certainly. Konan turned around and walked with Sasuke, and at the same time responded, You. Once you step into this base today, I'm afraid it will not be so easy to get out. Hearing this, Sasuke nodded, I know. People outside the Akatsuki organization are not allowed to enter. Konan stopped suddenly and glanced back at Kimimaro. Konan also knew about this subordinate of Sasuke. The extinct Wei Yoruichi tribe in Kirigakure has the extremely rare Dead Bone Pulse, which has amazing combat power and can even overwhelm Deidara. Such an existence, if they can join the Akatsuki organization, then the vacancies of Deidara and Scorpion can be easily filled. Is it? If he can't go in, then you let the chief come out and me. Sasuke doesn't have such a good temper, your rules are useless to me. Just this attitude. And Konan gave Sasuke a complicated look. Apparently Sasuke was also wary of them, and brought such a powerful subordinate to prevent them from fighting later and being defeated by Nagato alone. It seems that Sasuke is not only arrogant, but at the same time, this guy is also careful when he should be careful. Okay. Then let's go in together. Have Nagato come out and talk to Sasuke? Wouldn't it be easier for Sasuke to escape? Naturally, it would be better to bring Sasuke in. And at this moment in the Shao organization base, Yahiko is waiting for the arrival of Sasuke, to be precise Yahiko the puppet controlled by Nagato. At the same time, the beast road on the side is also ready to summon other pain at any time. Nagato, who is already ready for battle, is more than that because of waiting for Sasuke. Obito, who was in front of Nagato at the moment, listened to White Zetsu say that Sasuke had entered the base. Obito opened his eyes again, and glanced at Nagato, if you can, try not to conflict with this kid. Hearing this, Nagato seems a little reluctant to heed Obito's warning. Uchiha Sasuke, even if he is a genius, anyone who dares to betray the Akatsuki organization must not let them live. If Sasuke and Itachi are spared, what will happen to the other members? Nagato's attitude is very tough. Obito was helpless, Deidara and Scorpion are already dead, and the organization's combat power has declined severely. If we confront Sasuke head-on today, more people will die in the end. The plan is even more impossible to realize. When people are gone, just look for them. After speaking, Nagato looked at Obito coldly, as if he had already made a decision and would not follow any advice at all. For Nagato, who has such a tough attitude, Wong feels a little bitterness in his heart. If too many people die, what about the seals of Erway and Four Tails? When Sasuke and 3rd Tsuchikage were fighting Onogi, the Akatsuki organization took the opportunity to capture the second tailed Jinchuriki in the 4 Jinchuriki. Now there are 2 more tailed beasts. News from Sasuke came before White Zetsu could seal it. I can do it alone. Nagato continued to speak stubbornly. Seeing this, Obito glanced at Nagato with icy eyes. Nagato smiled. Now the leader of the Akatsuki organization is me. At the same time as he finished speaking, Sasuke was led by Konan and came to Yahiko. Sasuke and Kimimaro entered. Yahiko raised his head slowly, and Konan leaned towards Yahiko at the same time. Sensing the surrounding situation, Sasuke smiled. It seems that today, talk about bad things. Things are going to get really bad. When Konan and Yahiko heard this, their faces changed at the same time. Really? Can't hide from this guy. But it doesn't matter that he didn't intend to hide it in the first place. Yahiko stood up slowly, looking at Sasuke and Kimimaro at the bottom of the steps. Betray Uchiha Sasuke, I ask you again, do you want to make such a decision? Hearing this, Sasuke also raised his head and looked directly at Yahiko. The Akatsuki organization. Has no meaning to me now, so is there any problem if I leave? Problems? There are many problems. Since you have decided to defect from the organization, then. I don't think there is anything else to say. Also including Uchiha Itachi, we will not let it go. Threaten. Threatening yourself? Sasuke's eyes gradually burst into murderous intent. Don't be so tense. Negotiations should look like negotiations. Konan's voice suddenly sounded, which suddenly eased the tense atmosphere between the two. And Sasuke also put away his killing intent. I captured 1 tail and left the Akatsuki organization. I have already done credit to you. Leaving the organization is considered clean. As for Itachi. If you don't trouble Itachi, I owe you a favor. Sasuke's words stunned both Nagato and Obito. Does this kid know how serious Itachi's departure is to the Akatsuki organization? It would be fine if Itachi just left, but Itachi is going back to Konoha. The fact that this guy wants to return to Konoha is absolutely not what the Akatsuki organization is willing to accept. Once Itachi returns to Konoha, the secrets of the Akatsuki organization for these years basically mean that they will be exposed immediately. At that time, the ninjas of the 5 major ninja countries will join forces to deal with the Akatsuki organization. At that time, it is basically impossible for the Akatsuki organization's plan to continue. Even Obito doesn't think he can complete the plan in his heart under the joint targeting of the 5 major powers. The same goes for Nagato. Nagato, who was so angry that he didn't know what to say, controlled Yahiko and couldn't speak. Wait until Nagato calmed down for more than 10 seconds. Only then did he calm down slowly, and then stared at Sasuke with extremely terrifying eyes. Controlled Yahiko looked at Sasuke with cold eyes. What were you talking about just now? Sasuke nodded, of course I know, alright. This kid actually said he knew. Since he knows it and still says such idiot-like words, how much face do you Uchiha Sasuke think you have? Can the Akatsuki organization willingly let Itachi go, even at the expense of exposing the organization's plan? Think Akatsuki and Nagato are idiots. Since you know what you're talking about, do you think I'll agree with what you're saying? Sasuke narrowed his eyes. Yes, you will definitely agree. I didn't expect Sasuke to be so confident in himself. Even Obito laughed at this point. Is this delusional self-confidence? Do you really feel that your face has grown to such an extent? But if it's something else, then letting Sasuke owe a favor is not very useful at critical moments. After all, Sasuke's strength is very strong, and his shots at critical moments can have unexpected effects. But this thing is too big. Just such a condition is not enough. Nagato took a deep breath. I let you go, you grab 1 tail and hand it over to the organization. As you said, you can settle with the organization. But Itachi. Just let him go, he chose to return to Konoha, so there is no emperor in this matter. Having said that, Nagato didn't say a word. Even if it is Liangqing, they will never let Sasuke leave Akatsuki's organization like this. After finishing speaking, Yahiko's eyes have completely become extremely cold. The eyes looking at Sasuke are completely looking at people who are about to die. Sasuke also noticed the change in Yahiko's eyes. I can only sigh helplessly in my heart. It seems that solving the follow-up troubles for my big brother is not as simple as I imagined. Sasuke originally said that if Nagato agreed, then in the end Sasuke could save his life. Or save Konan's life. But Nagato doesn't seem to want this favor, so he can't help it. There is only do it. At this time, there were some changes around. Sasuke smiled, and was about to say that Nagato seemed to be afraid of himself, and let these guys ambush him in advance. A person jumped out of Kimimoro's shadow. The sudden appearance of this person made everyone's movements stop suddenly. Nagato's expression changed drastically when he saw the person in front of him. Because the person who appeared was Jiraiya. Ms. Jiraiya. Konan spoke softly, but at this moment everyone's attention was on Jiraiya. Jiraiya let out a soft breath. It's really. The lurking time is too long, and the limit time of the technique can no longer be held. Kimimaro looked at the person in front of him in great surprise. Who are you? Why are you in my shadow? Jiraiya waved her hands nonchalantly, a technique not worth mentioning. Sasuke understood now. No wonder he kept feeling strange sights, it turned out to be coming from Kimimaro's shadow. No wonder he has been feeling strange, today's white Zetsu seems to be following very close. It turned out to be Jiraiya. But when did this guy enter Kimimaro's shadow? There can't be any opportunities along the way. Suddenly Sasuke thought, that town. Did you take the opportunity to enter the shadow while Kimimaro was shopping? As expected of Jiraiya, I didn't even notice myself. But at that time, Kimimaro was far away from him, and Sasuke didn't pay attention to Kimimaro, so it's normal not to notice. But now, this situation gave Sasuke a headache. Jiraiya appeared here at this time, now, it's hard to say. Sasuke. Go back to Konoha. I heard it all, your big brother Itachi decided to go back to Konoha, since that's the case, why don't you come along? Jiraiya had just said this, and suddenly looked forward, and Yahiko was staring at him right now. Looking at Yahiko's face, Jiraiya froze. Yahiko. Konan. You. That's Akatsuki. Just when Jiraiya was about to say something. Suddenly, figures jumped out one after another. Gonshi Gujou, Kakuzu, Hidan, Ju, all appeared one after another, surrounded Sasuke, Kimimaro, and Jiraiya. There is absolutely no chance of escape. At the same time, the beast path also appeared, and a summoning technique directly summoned all of Pain's 6 paths. In an instant, the number of people in the Akatsuki organization reached 11. Jiraiya frowned at the moment. Looking at these enemies, he also suddenly felt that something was wrong in. Although I have obtained a lot of good information, but how to get out seems to be a very serious problem right now. In addition, I didn't expect that the leader of the Akatsuki organization turned out to be Yahiko. Yahiko. You. But what Jiraiya wants to know more now is why. Why did the former Yahiko, Nagato, and Konan become like this now? What about Nagato? Why is Rinnegan in Yahiko's? Wait, why these guys have Rinnegan? Rinnegan is the eye of the rumored sage of 6 paths, why does it appear on these people? What is going on? Teacher. I didn't expect to meet you in this situation. Sure enough, you have not changed, you are still as unexpected as before. Although called a teacher by Yahiko again. But this teacher made Jiraiya very angry. Yahiko. Why did you become like this? You actually became the leader of the Akatsuki organization, and why is Rinnegan on you? Where's Nagato? What did you do to Nagato? Hearing this, Konan said, Teacher. Do you know how to care about Nagato now? When you left us here, why didn't you think about caring about us? Jiraiya was silent. There was also deep guilt on his face. Indeed, since he decided to save these 3 little devils back then, he should completely save them. Instead, leave after teaching the 3 of them ninjutsu. But at that time, he did have a mission. After all, as Konoha's ninja, he couldn't act as he wanted. It's me. There is no need to reminisce about the past, because it is worthless. Now we are living well, Teacher Jiraiya. Yahiko's voice sounded, interrupting Jiraiya's words. At this moment, Yahiko's eyes changed back and forth between Sasuke and Jiraiya. Then Yahiko glanced at Sasuke, stop him first. Wait for me to deal with Mr. Jiraiya, then deal with him. Hearing that Kakuzu and others glanced at each other, they didn't expect their leader to be a disciple of Jiraiya, one of the Sannin. This is still unbelievable. If Jiraiya hadn't appeared suddenly today, I'm afraid they would never have known about this kind of thing. Leave this guy to us, don't worry, he will be killed by me soon. Hidan spoke boldly, as if in his eyes Sasuke was not to be feared at all. However, after he said this, Kimimaro turned his head and stared at him, with a strong killing intent in his eyes. Kakuzu and the others glanced at each other, Blocking Sasuke's words, there is no problem for them to join forces. But does the leader want to make a break with his teacher? This is quite surprising. They are also very interested in the grievances between master and apprentice, but it is a pity that they have no time to watch this battle. Let's go. Teacher. Let's change places, don't you still have a lot of questions? Before you die, I will answer these questions for you. Said Yahiko slowly walked back with pen's 6 paths. And Jiraiya hesitated for a few seconds, and followed Yahiko. After all, he did have a lot of questions to ask. When the two left, Konan chose to stay here to deal with Sasuke. Sasuke glanced at Konan. Doesn't this guy want to watch the fight between those two? Right. Both Nagato and Jiraiya are extremely important people to Konan. Now that the battle between the two is about to break out, she will only suffer more if she follows the past. And Konan guards the entrance where Jiraiya and Yahiko leave. Seems to prevent Sasuke from being the same as before. Ha ha ha. Uchiha Sasuke, my uncle has long wanted to deal with you, your blood must be delicious. Let me taste it. Beep. Suddenly Hidan jumped directly towards Sasuke, swung the sickle, dragging and slashing very fiercely. But, for a guy who relied on his immortal body to deal with the enemy, Hidan's physical ability was simply too weak in Sasuke's opinion. With this level of physical skills, it is impossible for him to injure himself with just one hand. And at this moment, Sasuke didn't even look at him, his eyes were locked on Zhao and Gui Zhao. Just when the tip of the sickle was less than 3 centimeters away from Sasuke's neck, the sickle stopped suddenly. Easily caught by Kimimaro with a bone blade in one hand. Hidan, who cannot save the sickle, frowned and stared at Kimimaro. Bastard, who are you? Get the hell out of my way, don't be my way. Kimimaro smiled, I'm sorry, you are too weak to fight against Master Sasuke, get lost. After speaking, Kimimaro directly stabbed Hidan with a knife. It pierced Hidan's heart in an instant, and Kimimaro felt a little unreal when he saw Hidan being hit by himself so easily. How could this guy be so weak that he couldn't dodge such a simple attack? Turning around, Kimimaro didn't intend to give Hidan another look. However, the next second, Hidan's voice continues, I say. You think you can kill me like this? When Hidan's voice continued to sound, but at this moment Kimimaro's eyes shrank rapidly. A knife hit the heart. Logically this guy's heart should have been pierced by himself, how could it be? Alright. Suddenly the cutting sound of the blade piercing the wind sounded again. Kimimaro quickly turned sideways, and the bones grew out instantly to block the sudden slashing sickle. Bang bang. The huge impact force directly knocked Kimimaro's figure into the air. After turning quickly in the air and landing firmly, Kimimaro looked up at Hidan who was safe and sound, and was retracting his scythe. The other party had a disdainful smile on his face, as if he was laughing at him. Kimimaro was very surprised. Not dead? Totally as if nothing happened. This guy. Be careful, Kimimaro, anyone who can join Akatsuki's organization has something. Sasuke reminded Kimimaro. However, Kakuzu laughed when he heard this, and he was very happy to get Sasuke's approval. But Sasuke continued to add, although there are some things, but there are not many things, that's it, let's get it done as soon as possible. After speaking, Sasuke glanced in Konan's direction. That guy, I don't want to see him die here either. That guy. Do you mean Jiraiya? Konan froze for a moment. Countless pieces of paper floated up in an instant when he raised his hand, and suddenly turned into a shuriken and shot straight in the direction of Sasuke. Won't let you get out of here, Uchiha Sasuke. Swish swish swish. A series of paper shurikens flew over. Sasuke raised his hand and instantly summoned a large number of shurikens from the storage scroll of the wristband, and his hands instantly turned into countless afterimages. The same number of shurikens were thrown out, and the shurikens colliding in the air were clanging crazily. Sasuke looked at Konan. Just relying on you, maybe you can't stop me. Really? Mr. Sasuke, maybe you're jumping to conclusions too soon. A black shadow flashed behind him, and Gui Zhao swung his broadsword and slashed down his muscles. Draw a knife. Cross. Bang bang. The huge force caused the ground under Sasuke's feet to sink suddenly. Sasuke turned sideways to look back at the ghost flood behind him. The strength is good, but yours is not a knife skill at all. The black blade Kusanagi sword slid directly along the muscles of the big saber, pulling the ghost dragon at the same time. Sasuke swung the blade upwards, and the blade quickly slashed across the ghost dragon's face. If it wasn't for the quick dodging of Gui Zhao at this moment, half of his face would be gone now. Ghost Zhao retreated hastily, with cold sweat on his forehead. Okay. Horrible. Knife skills. I'll use ninjutsu to restrain you, you can find the right time to make a move. As Kakuzu said, he started making seals. Sasuke sighed silently, it seems that it will take a little time. Sasuke looked at Kakuzu. This guy was going to use ninjutsu to deal with himself, he was looking for death. Thunder. Break out. Instantly condensed in Sasuke's hand, instant Sasuke rushed to Kakuzu. At the same time, a black thunder flashed out instantly. And at this moment, Sasuke's raised hand has already grabbed Kakuzu straight. Under the blessing of thunder and lightning, Sasuke exploded at an astonishing speed, but suddenly pieces of blank paper appeared in Sasuke's reluctance. With Sasuke's lightning splash, ignite the papers. The next second Sasuke heard a rustling sound. He turned his head and looked at the pieces of paper suddenly. Looking at the pattern above, these are detonators. Sasuke quickly turned his head to look at Konan who was beside him. When did he control the piece of paper to approach him? Even Sasuke didn't notice at all. Boom boom boom. A sudden explosion enveloped Sasuke, and Kakuzu grinned slightly. Idiot. I'm not the only one fighting you now. Fire style. Head hard. Boom. In an instant, the sweeping flames raged toward Sasuke, covering Sasuke again in the blink of an eye. The flames erupted, and the entire underground space began to vibrate. However, after the flames raged, purple rays of light erupted. Susanoo emerges. The skeleton covered Sasuke's whole body, making him have no problem at all in the attack just now. Slowly opening his eyes, Mangekyo Sharingan appeared before his eyes. Sasuke stared at the people in front of him. Raise your hand. Just as you were about to fight back, the ground under your feet suddenly exploded in the next second. One by one vines appeared. Sasuke looked up at Ju in the distance. Ju single-handed mudra, smiling at Sasuke. Master Sasuke. Although I have a low sense of existence, I am also. Caught you. Uchiha Sasuke. The ghost dragon who made another surprise attack swung its sword muscle and slammed hard at Sasuke's stomach. His purpose is not to kill Sasuke, but to absorb Sasuke's chakra. Use the Jiao muscle to absorb light from Sasuke chakra, then no matter how strong Sasuke is, it will be useless. Crack. The beating lightning instantly cut off these vines. Sasuke clapped his hands lightly. Before the Jiao muscle had time to hit him, a wood-style wall blocked the front in an instant. Boom. The Jiao muscle smashed on the wood-style wall, and the anti-5 ghost Jiao backed back again and again. The wood-style wall was lifted. Sasuke raised his hands high, one hand was wrapped around lightning, and the other hand was forming a mudra. Water style. Water dragon bomb. With a strong thunder force, the rolling water swept towards Kakuzu and Sujao who were in front of them. Boom. Zzz. The lightning water dragon bomb instantly formed an astonishingly powerful force, and the terrifying speed caused the two of them to jump away immediately. But at this time, one after another broke the wind. Sasuke turned his head and looked in Konan's direction. Countless paper shurikens shot towards him quickly. Dead bone pulse, 10 finger piercing. Whoosh whoosh. Bone bullets burst out from between the Kimimaros, firing like machine guns. Keep knocking down the paper shuriken in the air. And at this moment Sasuke turned to the other side, looking in White Zetsu's direction. White Zetsu clones appeared one by one and surrounded Sasuke, as if they didn't intend to leave any space for Sasuke. Sasuke quickly grabbed the Kusanagi sword behind him, and the black blade shone with black light. Rapidly rushing towards White Zetsu, the thunder and lightning left afterimages behind. Breath of thunder. One type. A flash of thunder. Zzz. Wherever the thunder light passed, these clones of White Zetsu were all destroyed in an instant, and then Sasuke stabbed directly at Jetsu's body with a knife. But the guy went straight to the ground. Sasuke missed the shot. Looking at the ground under his feet, strong anger flashed in his eyes. Immediately afterwards, thunder and lightning continued to wreak havoc. Condensed in Sasuke's hands, while the thunder and lightning flickered, the storm gathered. Within a few breaths, a large number of lightning appeared on Sasuke's body, and then he was slapped to the ground fiercely by Sasuke's big hand. Lightning style, go ground. The lightning that spread instantly paralyzed the body of Ju who escaped into the ground. Sasuke immediately raised his fist and slammed it hard to the ground. Explosion of strange power. Crack bang. Ju, who suffered a strong impact, flew out directly, looking seriously injured. Of course, there is nothing wrong with white Zetsu. After all, there are many white Zetsu, but black Zetsu seems a bit uncomfortable. The burst of strange power is a pure power attack. It is not so easy to bear. This momentary powerful chakra wave is brewing. Of course not Sasuke's chakra, but Kakuzu's chakra. Simultaneously release 3 types of chakra with different attributes, ready to launch a crazy bombardment on Sasuke. And at this moment Sasuke raised his head and made a mudra with his right hand at the same time. Wood style, the tree world is coming. Fujiman, who exploded from under his feet in an instant, directly entangled Kakuzu. Kakuzu didn't expect Sasuke to have this trick, and the wood-style vines that exploded instantly grew into a giant tree, and Kakuzu opened his mouth and shouted. However, the blink of an eye was directly sealed in the tree. Although it is wood-style tree realm descending, as long as chakra can be precisely controlled, the scale of the technique is also determined by Sasuke. It is also very simple to make only one tree in this way. Boom buzz. At this time, the roar sounded, and the ghost dragon was colliding with Kimimaro. And Hidan. Dot was coming toward Sasuke, swinging his scythe. Die. Sasuke. Hear Hidan's voice. Sasuke was speechless, and instantly shot a black stick from his palm. At the moment Hidan cut himself with the sickle, Sasuke directly stabbed a black stick from Hidan's shoulder into the body. The moment the black stick penetrated, Hidan's face suddenly darkened, because he felt as if his body couldn't move. Pippi. Sasuke directly stepped on Hidan's back and stomped him to the ground, and then pierced Hidan's body one by one with black sticks. Let this guy only be able to lie on the ground, unable to move. In the blink of an eye, they dealt with 2 Shao organization members in a row. Although they were not killed, they were trapped. Sasuke's strength made Konan, who was controlling the paper and preparing to attack, stunned. Is that a black stick? How could Uchiha Sasuke? He didn't have Rinnegan. Why? It was at this moment that Konan was stupefied. The sound of turbulent running water sounded. Sasuke looked at her. Water style. Big water boom. Boom. The flowing water instantly flooded the entire room, and because of the water, the paper was wet, and it became very difficult for Konan to continue attacking. And Sasuke, who shuttles quickly in the instantaneous water flow, directly releases the electric pine. The flowing black thunder paralyzed Konan's body. Konan raised his head and a Sasuke clone was constantly releasing lightning style at her. Control several people in a row, Konan, Kakuzu, Ju, and Hidan. Gui Zhao is the only one who can still act now. But now this room is filled with a large amount of water, and several people are still facing the problem of holding their breath in the water. However, Gui Zhao was overjoyed at this moment. How dare you use a water style of this size? This is the perfect opportunity for me. As a ninja of Kirigakure, the water is like the world of ghosts. The ghost dragon waved its muscles and looked at Kimimaro, who dived into the water and was controlling his body, ready to go forward and solve Kimimaro. However, in the next second Sasuke appeared directly in front of his eyes. Seeing the sudden appearance of Sasuke, Gui Zhao froze for a moment. What's going on? Why is this guy so fast? Ghost Zhao still didn't quite understand, but the next second Sasuke raised his hand and the water gathered instantly. Hard vortex water blade. In a sudden moment, the sweeping water impacted on the chest of Gu Zhao. In an instant, the high-speed rotating water split open Gui Zhao's skin, leaving a big blood hole on his chest. Seeing the grin of Gui Zhao, the corners of Sasuke's mouth slightly raised. This guy doesn't think he is the only one who can move fast in the current. Water style, riding the waves. Let Sasuke still be able to maintain ultra-high-speed movement in the water, and with Sasuke's chakra amount, the speed will become even faster. Boom. 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 A chain of bubbles bursts in the water. Sasuke's hard vortex water blade crazily impacted the ghost dragon in front of him one after another, leaving wounds on Gui Zhao's body. Blood spread in the water. Sasuke didn't intend to stop at all. He raised his black stick and pierced Gui Zhao's body. Immediately, Gui Zhao also felt that the chakra in his body was suppressed. As the water receded slowly, Sasuke grabbed Gui Zhao's neck with one hand. I didn't expect that I would be defeated in the water one day, said Sasuke, raised his hand and threw the ghost dragon to Kimimaro. Kimimaro caught the ghost dragon and controlled it on the ground. Master Sasuke, do you want to kill them all? At this moment, Kakuzu is trapped in the big tree formed by wood style, and has suffered a heavy blow from Sasuke, and he has not completely recovered his ability to move. Hidan was controlled by Sasuke with a black stick, unable to move his body, now lying on the ground and yelling at Sasuke. On the other side, Konan was easily trapped by Sasuke using the wood-style shadow clone to release the lightning style, and his body was paralyzed and unable to move. Up to now, all the members of the Akatsuki organization have been easily controlled by Sasuke. Although they didn't kill them, Sasuke's combat power made Guizhou and the others extremely shocked. How could there be such a terrifying person? Sasuke's strength has actually increased so much. With so many people working together, they still can't cause any trouble to Sasuke. This situation makes it difficult for Kakuzu and others to accept. It's completely crushed, without any suspense. Facing the current Sasuke, they are like a group of genin, there is no difference at all. The gap is too big. Watch them. Sasuke doesn't have kung fu to take care of these guys, now Sasuke cares more about the fight between Nagato and Jiraiya. Quickly skimming past Konan, Sasuke chased in the direction Jiraiya and Nagato had left. At this moment, Obito, who was secretly watching the battle, shook his head helplessly. It's true that today is not what it used to be. Today's Sasuke's fighting power is too strong, so that even I may not be sure that I can defeat him. Boom boom boom. At the moment, on the other side, the battle between Jiraiya and Six-Paths Pain is also very fierce. Jiraiya, who successfully summoned Fukasaku and Shima from Mount Myoboku, has activated Sage Mode. But compared to Six-Paths Pain, due to the gap in intelligence, it was very hard for Jiraiya to fight. Already received very serious injuries, although he tackled a couple of pen. But because of the Hell Dao Pain, these injured Pain recovered almost in a blink of an eye. In such a situation, Jiraiya's battle becomes even more difficult. Now that there are many injuries on his body, the situation is not optimistic. But Jiraiya also asked for a lot of information that was useful to him. For example, the purpose of Akatsuki organization, the situation of Nagato and the matter between Sasuke and Itachi. This information is very important to Konoha. If the information can be passed on, then Konoha and the 5 major countries will definitely be able to make complete preparations. However, the problem facing Jiraiya now is that it may be difficult to escape. After a fierce battle, Jiraiya finally broke through the siege of Six-Paths Pain, paying the price of serious injuries, and fled back and forth. But when Jiraiya came here, it seemed that the exit was not far away. He suddenly looked at the man standing in front of him. Little Jiraiya, run, why stop? Fukasaku was guarding behind him to prevent Six-Paths Pain from catching up and launching a sudden attack in the narrow sewer. In this way, it would be quite bad, and it would definitely be a situation of 10 deaths and no life. The child's father, in front. Hearing Shima's words, Fukasaku quickly looked forward. However, Sasuke, who appeared in front of him at this moment, blocked Jiraiya's way. At the same time Sasuke looked at Jiraiya. Isn't he dead? It's good if you don't die, I thought I couldn't catch up. It seems to have caught up, and Jiraiya Sasuke doesn't want him to die here. But this time Six-Paths Pain caught up. Seeing the arrival of the 6 people, Sasuke's eyes became cold. And Jiraiya frowned, his heart was extremely disturbed. Sasuke blocked his way, and Six-Paths Pain chased after him. Today it seems to be doomed. But even so, he must pass the information back. He turned to look at Fukasaku beside him. Master Fukasaku, please be sure to pass on the information you got today to Master Hokage in Sleepy Leaf. Otherwise, I will die in vain. Fukasaku was stunned for a moment, and he still wanted to say that he would definitely be able to kill him. But the next second, there was a rapid breaking wind sound behind him, and it was too late to look back. Suddenly in the direction of Sasuke in front, the roar of thunder exploded instantly. The Kusanagi sword swept over with an astonishing thunder in an instant. Looking at the ninja sword attacking, Jiraiya closed his eyes helplessly, and at this moment, Jiraiya asked Fukasaku and Shima to cancel the summoning status and return to Mount Myoboku. Otherwise, if they die here, the information will never be passed on. Bang bang. With the appearance of 2 white clouds, the 2 toad sages disappeared. And at this moment, the ninja knife flew past Jiraiya's face. The straight one collided with the black stick coming from behind Jiraiya. Jiraiya opened his eyes in an instant, listening to the sound behind him. Jiraiya was stunned. Sasuke didn't not attack him? Beep. Buzz. The fierce roar exploded behind Sasuke, and at this moment Jiraiya looked at Sasuke in front of him. He turned around abruptly. Behind him, Yahiko looked at Sasuke in surprise. "You want to save him?" Sasuke smiled. "He is your teacher no matter what, and he doesn't even intend to let it go." It was said that Yahiko's face changed back and forth several times, but he did not answer Sasuke's question. He just looked at Sasuke with even colder eyes. "Both of you have to die here today." Immediately after finishing speaking, Shira Dopamon rushed out. Sasuke shook his head and jumped. The sudden gust of wind blew across Jiraiya's face, and then quickly passed by Jiraiya's side, rushing to Jiraiya's back in the blink of an eye. Pulling up the Zanpakuto on the ground, he slashed at Shira Dopamon straight ahead. Under a knife. The blade trembled wildly, and at the same time, thunder and lightning also erupted. Shira Dopamion's body was paralyzed by lightning, and at the same time his body quickly stopped after being helped by the human Dopamon. At the same time Sasuke also took a step back slightly. Using the method of exerting strange power, coupled with the lightning of the Kusanagi sword itself, Shira Dopamon was instantly repelled. Nagato feels the power of Sasuke through Shira Dopamon. He was very surprised. How could there be such an astonishing burst of power? This guy's power is not even a match for Asura Dao. Sasuke twirled the ninja sword in his hand, and lightning kept bursting on the blade. Black lightning jumped from time to time. Sasuke looked at Six Paths Pain. "It's too narrow here, let's go to a wider place." The moment he finished speaking, Sasuke rushed forward again with a stride. At the same time, the roar of Chidori sounded. Countless birds are scrambling to chirp, lightning style, super speed, electrical lightning fire is on in an instant. Sasuke's speed is so fast that Nagato can hardly imagine. In just a split second, the beast in front of him, Dao Pain, was hit instantly. Chidori pierced through the body of Animal Road Pain, and then Sasuke kicked Animal Road hard. Beep. With a loud noise, Pain, the beast, suddenly flew backwards, hit other Pains, and flew backwards towards the other side rapidly. Tiando Pain originally wanted to use Shenluo Tianzhong to block it. But seeing that it was the beast Dao Pain flying over, he had no choice but to give up. Pain Six Paths was blown out of the passage. Sasuke looked back at Jiraiya. The meaning is very simple. Let him go quickly. Sasuke turned into a flash of lightning, and rushed out in a frenzy. Go after Pen Six Paths. But Jiraiya, who stayed in the passage, did not leave, but gritted her teeth fiercely, and chased in the direction of Sasuke. Since Sasuke chooses to save him, it is impossible for him to escape alone. Furthermore, since Sasuke chose to save him, then maybe Sasuke can be prosperous. As long as Sasuke returns to Konoha, Konoha and the entire ninja world will become much more peaceful. After all, Konoha has an unprecedentedly powerful ninja in command, and this guy is a monster that even the 4th Raikage can fight head-on. Also add an 8 Tails Jinchuriki. To be able to severely injure 8 Tails Jinchuriki alive, I am afraid that only Sasuke has done it in history. Not even the former 3rd Raikage could do it. Go through the pipe and return to the previous underground space. Sasuke is fighting Six Paths Pain. His figure is flickering constantly, beating thunder and lightning, wandering lightning. Sasuke is 1 against 6. Didn't even lose the slightest bit of wind. A summoning beast rushed toward Sasuke, and was controlled by Sasuke, not only blocked the summoning beast's impact, but even directly destroyed the headache spirit beast with 10 punches. The lightsaber transformed into lightning instantly penetrated the summoning beast's body, splitting it in two. Nagato looked at Sasuke, who had such amazing fighting power. Not only can it have a head-on collision with Shira Dao, but it can easily suppress Shira Dao. The backhand can also kick the world away as casually as a ball. Summoning beast Na Sasuke of the Animal Road has nothing to do, and the Hell Road cannot attack at will. Although Hungry Kido can absorb Sasuke's ninjutsu attacks, returning Sasuke wave after wave does not give Hungry Kido time to breathe at all. Even the Hungry Kido was instantly destroyed by Sasuke. Tiando Pain's Shenluo Tianzhong broke out, and there is no way to take Sasuke. Even on the contrary, because of Sasuke's terrifying speed, Tiando Pain didn't dare to use Shenluo Tianzhong at will to prevent Shenluo Tianzhong's gap period. Make Tiando Pain destroyed by Sasuke. And Jiraiya, who was watching the battle from the sidelines, was completely stunned and dumbfounded. Thinking back to when he fought Six Paths Pain just now, he was completely beaten from beginning to end and couldn't find his way. Let's look at Sasuke now. Press Six Paths Pain to the ground and beat him violently. This guy's strength has completely surpassed himself, and it has surpassed too much. Seeing Sasuke like this, Jiraiya wanted to bring Sasuke back to Konoha even more. With Sasuke's Konoha, the whole ninja world will be stable. It's incredible. A teenage brat can grow to such a degree in a short period of time. Suddenly a voice sounded. Jiraiya turned her head quickly. How could someone approach her quietly? And he didn't notice it at all. Turn back. A strange Uzumaki mask appeared in front of him, and this person was wearing Akatsuki's clothes. Obviously, they are also members of the Akatsuki organization. Jiraiya just wanted to say who you are. Next second. Whoosh. A shuriken with lightning flew straight at it in an instant. A straight stab in front of where Obito was, followed by a thunderbolt. Directly led Obito back again and again. Obito, who had just landed, raised his head before he could react. There was a flash of lightning. Sasuke flashed directly in front of Obito. Lightning style, lei shun body. The terrifying roar of thunder sounded, and Sasuke directly slashed towards Obito's neck with a volley. Universal pull. Suddenly invisible gravitational force acts on Sasuke's body. Immediately afterwards, Sasuke's body was pulled directly over. And just with that pull, Sasuke's attack missed Obito. Sasuke, who turned around in the air, looked at the big dog summoned by the animal way, opening his mouth wide and preparing to swallow himself in one gulp. Sasuke raised his hand. Wood style, the tree world is coming. While the wood style vines broke out from the walls on both sides in an instant and entangled Sasuke's body, another vine directly and quickly entangled the summoning beast. The explosion of wood style. Jiraiya was completely stunned. Sasuke. Even wood style. Mouth. Nagato was not surprised by Sasuke's wood style, but surprised by Sasuke's control over wood style so delicately. Even their own universal pull has been cracked. This guy is a complete monster. The current strength is completely beyond himself. It may be difficult to beat Sasuke by relying on his own pen 6 paths. But Nagato couldn't swallow it without killing Sasuke. Together. Suddenly Yahiko spoke, and Obito on the side smiled helplessly when he heard Nagato's words. Originally, he didn't intend to do anything, but he also knew that if he only relied on Nagato, he might not be able to win Sasuke. If Sasuke is allowed to save Jiraiya like this, then Akatsuki's plan will be exposed. And the plan he wants to realize is even more impossible. Nodding silently, Obito agreed to Nagato's request. Nagato controlled Shira Road and Human Road and rushed towards Sasuke again. The two, one on the left and one on the right, are preparing to contain Sasuke. At the same time, the Animal Road summoned 2 huge flying birds again, and the huge beaks hit Sasuke quickly. Accompanied by the sound of the roar. Sasuke looked up at the same time. Suddenly clap your hands. Wood-style Vineman breaks out again. Quickly entangle the 2 summoning beasts in the air. At the same time, vines grew around Sasuke, Shira Dao and Human Dao Pain rushed over, and the vines entwined towards them like black snakes. The world is entangled and unable to move forward. The entanglement force of the wood-style Vineman directly crushed it. And Shira Dao moved faster, but saw the wood-style vines around Sasuke getting denser and denser. It was impossible for him to get close to Sasuke. At this moment Obito suddenly appeared out of thin air, grabbing Shiradao's body with one hand, and in the next second the 2 of them were instantly swallowed by the wood-style Vineman. But Sasuke didn't feel that he had caught anyone. The moment Sasuke was looking for the figures of the 2. A breath suddenly appeared on his right side. Sasuke turned his head quickly. Stomp your feet lightly, and at the same time make a mudra with your right hand. A wall of earth rose instantly from the ground. Bang bang. Shira Dao's fist hit the wall fiercely, and cracks appeared on the wall. Cracks spread rapidly like a spiderweb. The sound of breaking wind sounded behind him. Sasuke pulled out the Kusanagi sword from his waist and directly blocked it. A shuriken hit the blade of Kusanagi's sword, and sparks flew out. Was directly thrown out. However, this is not the end. Shenluo Tianzheng. Sky Dao Pain was already floating in midair. The moment Sasuke saw Tiando Pain, he used his peripheral vision to look towards the position where 6 Paths Pain was before. By this time the other Pain had disappeared. Accompanied by Bang Bang. Twice. All Pain were directly summoned to a safe location by the Human Dao Pain. Sasuke's eyes narrowed slightly. He turned his head to look at Jiraiya, who was not far away from him. Is Nagato so willing? Are you going to use this big move against me? Zzz. Lightning surged from Sasuke's feet. In the next second, lightning style suddenly turned on. Go straight to Jiraiya's side. Sasuke held Jiraiya down and turned his hands to the sky at the same time. Asterisk. Boom boom boom. Huge wood-style vines burst out suddenly, layered on top of Sasuke's head, forming a huge roof made of wood-style vines in an instant. The impact of Shenluo Tianzhong sounded, and wood-style Kochang was crushed to pieces in an instant. Sasuke sighed softly. Sure enough, it is still impossible to rely on wood-style to resist. Susanoo, the purple light burst out, and the skeletons that enveloped Sasuke and Jiraiya appeared directly. Sasuke and Jiraiya are protected by two big hands. After the roar passed, Sasuke finally blocked the impact of Shenluo Tianzhong. Lifting his head, Sasuke let go of Jiraiya, and Jiraiya looked around. Looking at the ground 3 meters away, all sank by more than 5 or 6 meters. Immediately, I understood how terrifying the impact just now was. Sasuke-kun's strength is really strong. In the face of such an attack, I can still block it. At this time Obito's voice sounded. Sasuke smiled. Didn't that guy not use his full strength yet? Is it necessary to compliment me at this time? Hearing that, Obito put away his smile. 6 paths pain also jumped down from the sky. Sasuke looked at the pains in front of him, and it really didn't work to attack casually. It still takes a little discipline. The primary goal is to get rid of pain in Hell Road first. Otherwise, no matter how many pain I killed, Hell Dao Pain would be able to revive him, so I would be wasting my time. If you want to get rid of Hell Road Pain, you have to be quick. Thunder Breath. Sasuke bent down slowly and arched his body. His hand hangs from the hilt of the Kusanagi sword in the kana. Make a knife move. One shape. Thunderbolt flash, divine speed. Crack. The flashing thunder erupted suddenly, and the clang of the blade erupted instantly. At the same time, Hell Dao Pain's body was directly divided into 2 halves, and the lightning formed a trajectory in the air. From Sasuke's location directly to the evil Kito's location. And Nagato was in a daze. Jiraiya was dumbfounded by the blow. Even the old Minato couldn't do this speed. Although Flying Thunder God is a space-type ninjutsu, it is not as good as Sasuke in terms of speed alone. Because no matter how fast it is, it needs reaction time, and it feels like Sasuke's blow has completely surpassed the reaction speed of the human body. So even if Minato faced this blow, he might not necessarily be able to dodge it. Uchiha Sasuke, have you grown to this extent in such a short time? So that's why you left Konoha in the first place. If Sasuke hadn't left Konoha back then, I'm afraid it would be impossible to grow to this level now. Jiraiya was thinking, and suddenly looked at Dai Dynasty and rushed toward Sasuke. The strange thing is that Sasuke didn't seem to notice Obito, so he didn't bother at all. Jiraiya's immediate instinct was to rush over. Instead, Sasuke looked in Jiraiya's direction the moment he heard footsteps. Looking at Jiraiya, who seemed to be aggressive and wanted to shoot himself. Sasuke doesn't quite understand. Is this guy crazy? Want to attack himself? I saved him twice just now, and this guy will repay his kindness with revenge. Then as Obito approached Sasuke gradually, a smile appeared on the corner of Obito's mouth. Sure enough, Sasuke doesn't notice me from Hollow. After all, in Hollow, my body is in another dimension, and what others see can only be equivalent to a projection. As Jiraiya got closer and closer, Sasuke didn't understand why Jiraiya wanted to attack him, but Sasuke didn't intend to fight back, but was going to jump away instead. At that moment, Jiraiya rushed to Obito, and Obito looked at Jiraiya. At this moment Yahiko shot a black stick from his hand. Being blocked by Obito's body, Jiraiya didn't see it at all. Next second, a black rod passed through Obito's body and shot straight into Jiraiya's chest. Jiraiya's Rasengan also passes through Obito's body. Jiraiya didn't feel her attack hit the incoming enemy at all. Staring at this Obito guy with wide eyes in amazement. Incorporeal? The black stick penetrated Jiraiya's heart. Passing directly through the chest, blood spilled out at any time, and the blood exploded in the air to form a blood flower. And at the same time Jiraiya freezes in place. Obito then passed through Jiraiya's body. At this time Sasuke also noticed something was wrong. In an instant, it turned into a bolt of lightning and came to Jiraiya's side. With the roar of thunder and lightning, Sasuke caught Jiraiya, who was about to fall. Seeing the freshness overflowing from Jiraiya's chest, Sasuke felt helpless. Didn't it change Jiraiya's fate in the end? This guy. died in the original book because he didn't understand Nagato's Tao pain. And now dies because he doesn't know Obito's Kamui hollow. Jiraiya's death was inevitable. Sasuke. Jiraiya looked at Sasuke, as if about to say something. Sasuke raised his hand to inject chakra into Jiraiya's body, but even Sasuke's chakra is useless to Jiraiya now. The heart was destroyed in an instant. Such an injury is not something that Sasuke can save. Even though Sasuke has yin-yang escape technique, the current Sasuke can't create a brand new heart. If the damage is only the size of the eyeball, then there is no problem, but the size of the heart is much larger than the eye. Go back to Konoha. In a word, Sasuke froze for a moment. Back to Konoha. It seems that Jiraiya also thought that he left Konoha for some other reason, but his reason for leaving Konoha was really simple. Staying in Konoha cannot make him continue to become stronger. Just say that I want to challenge Wukage village, not to mention whether Konoha support or not. Even in the case of support, Konoha will face a lot of trouble. There will definitely be voices of doubt, since it is such a trouble, what do I still do in Konoha? There is no need to be so troublesome at all, just leave Konoha directly. Sasuke looked at the dying Jiraiya. Sorry, Jiraiya, I don't want to go back to Konoha. Hearing such words before dying, Jiraiya seemed very unwilling and wanted to say something. But the breath has dissipated. Jiraiya is dead. Sasuke sighed helplessly, and the passerby put Jiraiya into the official who sealed the scroll. Then he stood up slowly and glanced at Obito. Nice fit. Now Sasuke also understood why Jiraiya suddenly ran towards him. It should have seen that Obito wanted to attack him. But it is impossible for Hollow's Obito to hurt himself, but if Obito is about to touch himself, the state of Hollow is lifted. So yes, that is to say, it is indeed possible to severely injure yourself. It seems that I rely too much on my 5 keen senses, and because I don't feel it, I let down my vigilance. Jiraiya and Obito taught themselves a lesson. Even with super perceptual ability, one still needs to be careful about attacks that cannot be perceived. The hint of arrogance in Sasuke's eyes gradually dissipated. His expression became clear, dignified, serious. The change in gaze also changed Sasuke's momentum. Looking at Six Paths Pain and Obito in front of him, Sasuke raised his hand and drew the Kusanagi sword. I won't be careless this time. Hearing this, both of them were obviously taken aback, and Nagato's gaze became much more gloomy. Then staring at Sasuke, Shira Dao Pain and Ren Dao Pain shot directly. Universal pull. Tsunade cooperates and launches an attack directly, locking on Sasuke's body. However, at the moment when the gravitational force acted on Sasuke, lightning burst out from Sasuke. There was a roaring thunder, and the Kusanagi sword in his hand burst into light. The condensed black electric light shoots out instantly. Chidori, sharp spear, swish. With a single blow, he pierced through the attacking Shira Dao Pain in an instant. The same knife pierced into the heart, and Shira Dao Pain instantly lost his ability to fight. However, the human world has already rushed up, at the moment when it is about to be affected by the gravity of the heavenly Dao Pain. Tsunade Pain lifted his ability. Dao Pain's fist hit Sasuke's back fiercely. Sasuke didn't even look behind him. Susanoo. The skeleton formed by the surge of purple light in an instant blocked the fist of the world. Bang bang. While being hit by himself, the thunder flowing in Sasuke's hand exploded again. Swinging along the Kusanagi sword, with a quick backhand turn, the knife moved towards the human path behind him. The moment the sword was drawn, the world was also dealt with by Sasuke. Now the rest of Pain are Tsunade, Beast Dao, Hungry Kido. 3 pens. Even adding Obito is only a little trouble for Sasuke. Especially Obito, it is not so easy to solve Obito. Sasuke suddenly raised his hand. Summoning. Boom. Summoning. Sasuke used the summoning technique at this time, and as a top powerhouse, he knew exactly what Sasuke wanted to do. Summoning Mon is a very powerful companion for ninjas. It is very useful when it is usually used to assist in combat or to help delay time. And now does Sasuke need help? Or maybe Sasuke wants to stall for time. Wood style, wood dragon technique, boom. In an instant, a wooden dragon condensed from wood style vines, entrenched on the right side of Sasuke, emerged with white smoke. Summoning beast green snake and Shinya appear. 2 big snakes, plus a wooden dragon. The 3-headed behemoth appeared directly in front of him, and Nagato controlled Yahiko to glance at Obito. Neither of them knew what Sasuke was going to do, but it was clear that Sasuke's next attack would be powerful. Absolutely shocking. Lightning style, endless lightning pool, boom. The thunder and lightning that swept out of nowhere seemed to emerge from all directions and gathered around Sasuke. Suddenly, a huge thunder pool was formed in an instant. The speed at which the lightning gathered made the two of them dumbfounded. Lightning followed one after another, there was no gap at all. Densely dense black lightning, wave after wave, the power emitted made Obito feel a little afraid. Once these lightning strikes, I am afraid that the scope of the spread. But hungry Keto Pain can absorb ninjutsu attacks, so it doesn't matter. Beep. Suddenly hungry in the direction of Keto Pain, Sleepy Dragon directly bites Keto Pain into pieces. Looking at the huge wooden dragon with extremely fast speed, Obito's heart twitched slightly. It's not easy to do this time. He turned his head to look at Yahiko. If the fight continues, I'm afraid. Today. Between them and Sasuke, both sides will have to suffer heavy losses. Either death or injury, neither side will have a good time. If it is like this. Sasuke stared at Obito and Tendo Pain. Come and try. The last development was not successful, so let's see how it works this time. Welcome. Give me up. Boom. Crack. Sasuke's thunder began to erupt crazily, and the raging thunder and lightning storm spread in an instant and gradually spread to the entire space. And the remaining three are Tendo Pain, Animal Dao Pain and Obito. Now his eyes are full of shock. I didn't expect that Sasuke could explode lightning style of this scale. Feeling the chakra fluctuations erupted by Sasuke, it has swept like a raging wave. With this level of chakra tide, the destructive power erupted may be able to wipe out the entire base in an instant. At this stage, the Geto statue is in the base. The other two Jinchuriki were also sealed, should Sasuke's attack break out. Not only may it destroy the Geto statue, but it will also remove the two Jinchuriki seals. To be able to escape, that is really a big deal. Thinking of this, Nagato's complexion began to change rapidly. Absolutely can't let this guy release his technique. Nagato thought, but saw the summoning beast waiting around Sasuke. Sasuke stood on top of Shinya's head, and Shinya's fierce eyes stared at him. And it seems that Shinya doesn't intend to fight. Once they launch an attack, Shinya will definitely take Sasuke to avoid the attack immediately. Give Sasuke as much time as possible. And there is a summoning beast green snake, plus a wooden dragon released by Sasuke with wood style. With the protection of these two things, it is even more difficult to attack Sasuke. The current situation is going to get trickier. Rather than letting this place be destroyed by you, it is better to let me come in person. Thinking of this, Nagato gritted his teeth suddenly, and all of chakra was concentrated in Tendo Pain's body. The chakra storm that erupted in an instant was no weaker than Sasuke. It can only be said that the physique of the Uzumaki family is completely like a monster when it has explosive potential. With Sasuke's current amount of chakra, it is crushing even for a cage-level ninja. However, I didn't expect Nagato's outbreak to be comparable to his own. Do you want to break out the Super Shenluo Tianzhong? If so, let's try it and see who is stronger between your Super Shenluo Tianzhong and my lightning style. Sasuke slowly closed his eyes, and Sage transformation started. In an instant, natural energy began to gather crazily towards Sasuke's body. In the blink of an eye, Sasuke's chakra wave was raised another notch. It was just like a tide before, but now it is raging wildly like an ocean storm. Obito looked at Nagato and then at Sasuke. I'm afraid it won't be good if it goes on like this. These two guys obviously intend to fight to the end. If it is not stopped, the final result will be nothing more than a loss for both sides, and it will not be of any benefit to Akatsuki and Sasuke. You two stop for me, accompanied by Obito's shout. Sasuke frowned and looked at Obito, but the movement of his hands had no intention of stopping at all. The same is true for Nagato on the other side. Chakra in Tendo Pain's body is still brewing. Nagato. The information has been sent back by Jiraiya. The toad who escaped earlier must have been contacting Konoha at this moment. Even without Uchiha Itachi, Konoha has obtained a lot of information about the Akatsuki organization. Saying that, Obito turned to look at Sasuke. Sasuke. Your big brother, Uchiha Itachi, we don't have to trouble him, he can stay in Konoha with peace of mind. But you owe Akatsuki a favor. How? Nagato has stopped now. Indeed, the information has been passed back by Jiraiya. There is no point in killing Sasuke even now, and even making himself seriously injured, there is no need for this at all. And whether Uchiha Itachi is dead or alive doesn't seem to matter now. But at this moment, Sasuke sneered, "It doesn't matter whether you are going to trouble Itachi now, kill you, you will naturally have no way to trouble anyone else." Sasuke's thunder welcome is almost formed. It cannot be seen here, but in the sky outside the base, a huge ball of thunder is constantly expanding among the clouds. The speed of the expansion is so fast that the size of the thunderball alone can easily cover the entire Shao organization base. However, Sasuke felt that it was not enough, and he wanted to use up all the chakra to see how amazing the power of this blow was. At this moment, when Obito heard Sasuke's answer, his face suddenly darkened. Unexpectedly, Sasuke is determined to kill them now. But that's right, it's already reached this point, and there's no need to worry about it when the face is torn apart. Thinking of this, Obito sighed. Wouldn't Nagato just listen to his own advice? Make it like this. It's like shooting yourself in the foot with a stone. Sasuke is no longer a guy who can be dealt with casually. Sasuke. But even so, Obito hopes not to really kill the fish. He bowed his head and thought for a moment, then quickly raised his head to look at Sasuke. How about giving you back your mother's eyes? The moment Sasuke heard this sentence, he froze for a moment. Mother's eyes, Uchiha Makoto. For a while, Sasuke didn't know how to make a decision. He was not the original Sasuke, and the memory of his mother was only the memory of the original Sasuke. And to be honest, Sasuke himself has no feelings for his nominal mother and father at all. But those memories in my mind still have some influence on Sasuke. After thinking for a moment, even if Lei Ying fell, he might not be able to kill Obito. Nagato might be able to take it out, but Obito has Kamui's abilities. You can escape at any time, and you have nothing to do with this guy now. Unless awakened Rinnegan has the same power of the space pupil surgery day. If you are survived by Obito, then it is indeed a troublesome thing. I'm not afraid, but Uchiha Itachi probably won't be so relaxed. So Sasuke agrees. As the chakra wave dissipated, the lightning around Sasuke also slowly disappeared. Shin Ya under his feet seemed a little displeased, and glanced at Sasuke. And Sasuke jumped off Shin Ya's head and looked back at Shin Ya. Go back. The two summoning beasts, Green Snake and Shin Ya, disappeared instantly. The wooden dragon entrenched around Sasuke's body, still maintaining a state of alert. My mother's eyes are in your hands. Obito nodded, that's right. Give it to me. I owe you a favor. Tell me when you need help, but I won't help you with anything. This remark made Obito not very satisfied, but it finally made Sasuke stop. The result is still acceptable. Good. Obito agrees, so be it. Otherwise, if you continue to fight, the final result will definitely not be too good. Holding the eyes of Uchiha Makoto, Sasuke looked at Ju, who was slowly diving underground. No wonder the Rinnegan hidden by Obito in the original book can never be found. It turns out that Obito knows where these eyes are hidden. So be it. Sasuke casually put Uchiha Makoto's eyes into the ceiling bracer. Then he raised his head and looked at the people organized by Akatsuki. The Akatsuki organization is very strong, if only Sasuke challenged the Akatsuki organization alone. The combat power is still a little lacking, but if I wait until I awaken Rinnegan, it will be different. Sasuke, who has the power of the sky, can rely on the power of the pupil of the sky in an instant even when facing Obito's Kamui. Forcibly tear open the space and track Obito so that you are not afraid of Obito's hollow. Of course, there is another way, which is to attack continuously for more than 5 minutes, so as to force Obito to reveal the entity from the hollow state. But that's hard to do without Obito's help. Turn around. Sasuke leads Kimimaro towards Akatsuki's base. At this time, Kakuzu and others are staring at Sasuke's back. Just let this guy go. Kakuzu asked a little unconvinced. However, Nagato controlled Yahiko and looked at Kakuzu with a cold eye, and the next second the universal pull was launched directly. Grab Kakuzu from a distance in front of him. Kakuzu looked at Pain in horror. Leader. 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 Yahiko said coldly, nonsense. If Sasuke can be defeated, will they let Sasuke go? Didn't see the still undissipated thunder in the sky? Even now, the astonishing thunder and lightning fluctuations in the clouds can be clearly felt. If Sasuke just wanted to make a move, these guys would have died long ago. Even Geto statue and Jinchuriki might have died from the blow. Abandoning Kakuzu, Kakuzu gently rubbed his neck, looking at Pain with eyes full of fear. The strange force at that moment just now made him unable to move at all. The body involuntarily flew in the direction of Confronting Pain. It's just horrific. However, facing such a leader, Sasuke was able to fight back and forth, and even suppressed the leader for a while. It's just horrific. Thinking of this, Kakuzu also understood that this time he was indeed talking too much nonsense. Even Hidan, who is not afraid of death, didn't speak. I became such an idiot. The reason why Hidan didn't speak was because he suddenly understood one thing. Even though he has an immortal body, this world still has too many ways to deal with him. So what if he doesn't die? Sasuke can easily make his life worse than death. And so is the leader. Facing their own immortality is completely useless. Hidan clenched his fists lightly. I will never be like today again, like a dead fish, to be slaughtered by others. Ghost Zhao looked at Sasuke's back as he drifted away. On top of water style, there is such an existence. How could I be defeated by someone using water style? A battle. Everyone in the Akatsuki organization seems to have been knocked out of their arrogance by Sasuke. After Sasuke left, the others silently found a secluded place in the base. They all seem to be reflecting on their own battles today and what they are missing. And Obito approached Nagato. Do you have any idea? Hearing that, Nagato, who was still coughing, raised his head suddenly, thinking, Konoha will soon be able to know information about us. As for the current collection of tailed beasts, only 1 tail, 2 tails, 4 tails, and 7 tails have been captured. The remaining 3 tails, 5 tails, 6 tails, 8 tails, and 9 tails have not been captured yet. In this case, the exposure of the Akatsuki organization is simply hell-level difficulty. Nagato's face now also became extremely ugly. Akatsuki's plan. No matter what, it must be completed. Suddenly Nagato spoke with absolute certainty. Obito glanced at him. This guy was really brainwashed thoroughly. It is his attitude that is very desirable. As long as Nagato is willing to risk his life, there is still a chance to complete the plan. The current Akatsuki organization can only put all their eggs in one basket. Quickly seal away in 4 tails, and capture 5 tails and 6 tails. The whereabouts of the remaining 3 tails are unknown, and they have never been found so far. 8 tails should be recovering from serious injuries. But 4th Raikage lost an arm by Sasuke, so it's easier to catch 8 tails, so let's go all out to catch 8 tails. As Obito said, Nagato felt that there was something wrong with Obito's plan after hearing this. 2. Once 8 tails is caught, no matter what the result is, the ninja world will have a huge reaction in an instant. Obito is also very clear about this point. As long as 8 tails can be captured, there will only be the last 3 tails and 9 tails left. 9 tails is in Konoha, and we have to see what happens after Itachi returns to Konoha. If Uchiha Itachi returned to Konoha and was accepted by Oba, that is to say, Konoha will have multiple combat powers comparable to Kage level at the same time. Hitaki Kakashi, Might Guy, plus Uchiha Itachi, these guys plus Hokage. As well as Konoha's elite Jonin. If they want to break into Konoha and capture 9 tails, it will be very difficult unless they exhaust all the power of the Akatsuki organization. Even in the end, it is very likely that Shao organization will lose more than half. This is the only way to catch 9 tails. If that's the case, then 9 tails must be the last capture. Obito raised his head slowly and looked at Nagato solemnly. Right now. There is no other way. Try to catch as many tail beasts as possible. If it really doesn't work, then it's okay to start the plan in advance. And 9 tails and 3 tails are the most difficult to handle. 9 tails are hard to catch, and 3 tails are hard to find. Up to now, there is no trace. After thinking for a while, Nagato also nodded. Then let's do this. The whereabouts of 3 tails must be found as soon as possible, and 9 tails, stay last. Speaking of this, Obito suddenly laughed. Besides, even if Itachi returns to Konoha, I'm afraid there may not be any good results. At that time, Itachi's encounter may be different from what we imagined. Ferret returns the results for Konoha. It will greatly affect the Akatsuki organization. Everything depends on whether the current Konoha is bathed in sunlight or shrouded in darkness. Konoha village, nation of fire. It is not Uchiha Itachi that is welcoming the land of fire at this moment. It was an emergency contact from Mount Myoboku. As the deep work of Toad Sage, he actually came to Konoha in person to deliver important information. The moment Tsunade got the news, she had a bad feeling. Hokage-sama. Toad Sage of Mount Myoboku, Fukasaku-sama came to Konoha and said, "I want to see you in person immediately, I have important information to report to you." Anbu's ninja reported quickly. Tsunade slowly lifted his head from the file. After being stunned for a second, he nodded, "Okay. Let Fukasaku-sama come in." The door opened, and Konoha elite jonin including Shikahisa, Kakashi, Might Guy, etc. also rushed in at the same time. The relationship between Mount Myoboku and Konoha has always been good. Toad Sage from Mount Myoboku, these elite jonins are also very clear about what kind of existence it is. This time it came so suddenly, so hurriedly. Something must have happened. Reminiscent of Naruto being on Mount Myoboku, while Jiraiya was sent out of the village on a mission not long ago. Everyone also had a bad premonition in their hearts. Hokage office. Sitting on the deep work of Toad, you can see the bandaged wound on his body, it has just been bandaged and there is no excess. Apparently there was a big fight not long ago. And it is possible to let Fukasaku as Toad Sage participate in the battle, and he still looks so embarrassed. So that means the enemy is scary. Master Hokage, I am the Toad of Mount Myoboku, serving Fukasaku of Toad Sage. This time, I came because of little Jiraiya's request. Little Jiraiya, he found the base of the Akatsuki organization, and was besieged by the people living in the group. The first sentence completely stunned everyone present. Found the base of Akatsuki organization. Not long ago, there was an uproar. As a member of the Akatsuki organization, Sasuke broke into Cloud Shinobi village, severely injured 4th Raikage, and beat 8 Tails to the brink of death. At the same time, Raikage's right-hand man is most likely to become the next generation of Raikage's Darui. The strongest Cloud Shinobi of the younger generation was also instantly killed by Sasuke. Not healed yet, this incident made Akatsuki's name, which is not a secret in the ninja world now. Master Jiraiya. Is he going on such a dangerous mission? Kakashi froze for a moment. How could Master Jiraiya go alone for such a task? That was the base of the Akatsuki organization, and Kakashi knew how powerful the enemies inside were. If it weren't for the relationship between Tsunade and Jiraiya, Kakashi would have wondered if Hokage had killed someone with a knife. Little Jiraiya's mission is just reconnaissance, but unfortunately, little Jiraiya was found. Without Tsunade's explanation, Fukasaku had already spoken. At the same time he started talking about the fight with 6 Paths Pain. Rinnegan. When everyone heard the appearance of Rinnegan, the expressions on their faces were extremely exciting. This kind of eye, which only exists in legends, actually exists, and it is also the leader of the Akatsuki organization. There is not just one person who owns it, but a total of 6 people. How is this possible? But Fukasaku couldn't lie, and told the abilities of 3 of the 6 Paths Pains. Absorb ninjutsu. Summon hordes of mighty summoning beasts. Possesses the power to deflect all attacks. The abilities of Hungry Kido, Beast Dew, and Heaven Pain are narrated. The faces of Kakashi and others in the office suddenly changed. There are actually 6 such powerful ninjas with special abilities. And Master Jiraiya actually faced the battle of these 6 people at the same time. No wonder. Will be in danger. Just when little Jiraiya found her chance and could have escaped. Encountered Uchiha Sasuke and blocked the exit. If it wasn't for Uchiha Sasuke, little Jiraiya would have escaped by now. Said Fukasaku as if very angry. That kid. Together with the enemy back and forth attacked little Jiraiya, and that moment little Jiraiya let us go. Come back with information, I have no choice but to cancel the summoning status. Hearing this, Kakashi's first reaction was impossible. For nothing but Kakashi's understanding of Sasuke, he was well aware of Sasuke's arrogance. He will not join forces with others to deal with Jiraiya, who is already seriously injured. Even if he wants to kill Jiraiya, he will definitely choose to fight Jiraiya one-on-one. Because even in a one-on-one battle, Sasuke is completely capable of killing Master Jiraiya, and it is impossible to join forces with others. But Kakashi didn't say it. He just glanced at Fukasaku lightly. It is absolutely impossible for Fukasaku to lie. So what happened? Guy felt something was wrong too, but he couldn't tell what was wrong. Facing those 6 people, little Jiraiya can still protect himself, and Uchiha Sasuke can be added, according to little Naruto's description. This guy is a powerhouse not inferior to Hokage at all, and when I checked the list of contractors, I found that Jiraiya's name had disappeared. Please flowers. It's been 3 hours since Jiraiya died. Everyone was silent when they heard this. Even Kakashi doesn't believe that there will be Sasuke in this matter, but it's hard to say it now. Boom. Suddenly the desk was smashed by Tsunade's punch. No one said anything because of Tsunade's sudden rage. Instead, he silently looked at Tsunade with his head down and shortness of breath. Everyone at the station understands Sanin's fetters. Now in Hokage's office, everyone is immersed in sadness. No one spoke. It was silent for 10 minutes. Only then did Fukasaku speak slowly. This time Jiraiya found out. Next up is little Jiraiya. This discovery. Information about the Akatsuki organization. The Shao organization currently has 11 members, counting the leader. Their purpose is to catch tailed beasts, which is not wrong, and the purpose of catching tailed beasts is to use the power of tailed beasts to attract ghosts. Use this to create a peaceful ninja world. It turned out that this was the purpose of the Akatsuki organization. It's ridiculous, but these guys are out for peace. Ridiculous peace. The number of people who died under their hands does not know how many. And talk about peace. There are other things about the abilities of members of the Akatsuki organization. I will write an intelligence document and hand it over to you later. Fukasaku's face was not very good when he said that. After all, he was injured and his mood fluctuated, so he was exuding old anger now. Tsunade waved his hand. Thank you Fukasaku-sama, you can go back to Mount Myoboku and rest. I will take care of the next thing. Hearing this, Fukasaku nodded. Naruto will stay at Mount Myoboku for now. I will teach him as much as possible and make him stronger. Okay. This couldn't be better. Disappears with deep work. Tsunade turned slowly and looked at Konoha village through the window. Now. Issuing a reward order, offering a reward of 1 billion, wanted. Uchiha Sasuke. Whoever Konoha shinobi sees Uchiha Sasuke must kill him at all costs. Shock. Kakashi and the others raised their heads suddenly. Such an order, is murderous. Hokage-sama is completely angry this time. Big. Whether it's the bounty amount Tsunade chooses to post, or an order for all Konoha shinobi followers. They can clearly feel the anger from Konoha Hokage. A former friend was killed. The rebellious ninja Sasuke also participated in it, and even joined forces with the enemy to kill Jiraiya. Tsunade still had a different feeling towards Sasuke. But now all that's left is anger and hatred. Tsunade doesn't know why Sasuke is doing this. Obviously Sasuke shouldn't do such a thing, but why? Why does Sasuke still do this? Killing Jiraiya, whatever his reasons, is absolutely unforgivable. In Hokage's office, everyone was silent, and their anger was also ignited by Tsunade. Master Sanin Jiraiya of Konoha was killed by a ninja of Konoha. Even if the other party did it as a rebellious, it is still unforgivable. And when the arrest warrant was released, the other 4 hidden villages still didn't quite understand why Tsunade suddenly became so angry. Could it be that something happened to Konoha recently? So much so that Tsunade would so angry, but this time. Konoha has not yet decided whether to share the information of Akatsuki's organization. Because, at this time, a more shocking news came suddenly. Betrayal Uchiha Itachi returned to Konoha, and at Konoha's main gate, Konoha's guard team has been defeated, and several Jonin were also defeated by Uchiha Itachi. Such an above-board challenge to Konoha. When the news reached Tsunade, Kakashi had rushed over with the other Konoha Jonin. And Tsunade also directly dropped the work at hand. Uchiha Itachi. This guy came to Konoha at this time, is he here to provoke? He and his younger brother both joined the Akatsuki organization, and now they dare to come back after killing Jiraiya. Beep. Tsunade turned around and blasted the wall behind him, not wanting to waste time by going through the gate. After jumping out from the Hokage building, he headed straight towards Konoha's main entrance. From far away, Tsunade noticed the explosion of battle roar. The roar caused by the collision of fire-style ninjutsu can be heard even in the middle of the village. From a distance, Kakashi and Asuma are fighting with Uchiha Itachi. However, facing Uchiha Itachi, the guy already has the eternal Mangekyo Sharingan. The combat power is amazing. While dealing with Asuma easily, he can also use fire-style ninjutsu to suppress Kakashi. So that several Jonin teamed up to release ninjutsu to resist Itachi's attack. I said it. I want to see Master Hokage. If I can't see Master Hokage, I am willing to wait here, but before that, no one should come near me. Itachi is not a fool. He entered Konoha rashly, let alone saw Tsunade, and was directly taken away by Konoha's interrogation department. Use a special technique to interrogate him first, and then talk about meeting Tsunade. And then there is no need to see Tsunade. Because that guy Ibixi will know everything, and he will naturally tell Tsunade. So Itachi chose this approach. But these guys seemed to be unable to understand, and they insisted on motivating him one by one. There is no way to protect himself, Itachi can only make a move. Susanoo launched, blocking the combined attack of many Jonin. When Itachi was feeling helpless, he suddenly heard a shout. Uchiha! Get the hell out of Konoha! Bang bang! Suddenly there was a violent shockwave behind him, and Itachi's eyes narrowed slightly. Such a terrifying power erupted in an instant. If Susanoo hadn't turned it on, it would have blocked the power of this blow. I'm afraid he's about to be killed. However, even though he blocked the impact, his body still slid 5 or 6 meters straight to the edge of Yemen Gate. It was only one step away from Konoha. He looked up at the person who shot. Itachi's eyes narrowed slightly. Master Hokage. Tsunade, who had just sent Haki back and knocked Itachi back with one punch, planned to continue punching. However, Itachi suddenly heard her calling her Hokage-sama. Tsunade was stunned, but immediately showed a disgusted expression. People from Uchiha, you don't deserve to call me like that. Itachi was very happy at first, but he finally got Hokage. But Tsunade's attitude made him feel something was wrong. Master Hokage, I have something special to tell you personally. So there is no other way, but this is the only way. Special? Tsunade was stunned for a moment, then sneered directly. It's really special. Konoha's rebellious ninja ran to Konoha's gate to tell me. Did you have something special to tell me? The Uchiha clan, the only thing that can bring Konoha as disaster. Without exception. Hearing that Itachi's complexion is not very good, this is the village he once loved so much. How come the current Hokage doesn't even seem to give him the chance to listen to him say a word? Hokage-sama. I am not Konoha's rebellious ninja, I have never betrayed the village. Itachi's voice was a bit loud, after all these years of being undercover, although he didn't convey any information. But he knows many things about the Shao organization today. When he chose to betray the family, he did not choose to betray the village. Now this situation makes Itachi a little uncomfortable. But they didn't know the situation in Tsunade, and Itachi didn't complain. Take a deep breath. I came back this time to bring information about the Akatsuki organization, and at the same time, I left the village and joined the Akatsuki organization. These things were approved by Lord Third Hokage. I never betrayed Konoha. Tsunade, who was about to greet Konoha shinobi, caught Itachi, was stunned. Even Lu Ju, who was watching the battle from the sidelines and thinking about how to win wrong, was stunned for a moment. This guy. Was approved by the third generation to join Akatsuki. No. It should be said that he joined the Akatsuki organization under the arrangement of Lord Third Generation? If this is really the case, then it's a bit unacceptable. Enough. I won't trust people from Uchiha. You think you can talk about, and I can. I have the certificate given to me by Lord Third Generation. After Itachi said this, all the Konoha shinobi were stunned. This guy. Could it be that the third generation really arranged to enter Akatsuki's organization? Proof? What more proof is needed? Uchiha Sasuke killed Jiraiya, you betrayed Konoha, and killed all Uchiha clan. All of the Uchiha clan are only for killing. Even if you have any proof, you can't wash away your sins, and your brother's sins. Tsunade growled angrily. It's not that she hates Itachi, it's just that Tsunade needs a vent now, and Itachi is her place to vent. At this moment, Itachi's brain instantly went blank. Sasuke. Killed. Jiraiya. Why? Sasuke has no reason to kill Jiraiya. What happened? Itachi couldn't believe that Sasuke killed Jiraiya for no reason. Sasuke wants to pursue power, but what can killing Jiraiya bring to Sasuke, in terms of Sasuke's current strength? Even fighting Jiraiya won't yield much. Impossible. Why did Sasuke kill Jiraiya? Itachi asked the question. However, Tsunade was even more angry. You should ask your brother this question. Your brother joined the Akatsuki organization, betrayed Konoha, and now killed Jiraiya. Konoha will never let go of Uchiha Sasuke, and you. Saying that, the chakra on Tsunade erupted again, and the chakra wave that erupted instantly swept away. He punched Itachi hard. And this Itachi, who was standing in place for an instant, didn't have any thoughts of dodging. Seeing Tsunade approaching, Itachi suddenly said, Sasuke. Has already left the Akatsuki organization. Leaving Akatsuki after invading Cloud Shinobi village. So you said Sasuke was killed, when did it happen? The fist stopped in front of Itachi. Tsunade froze. Is it true what you just said? Itachi nodded affirmatively. However, after thinking for a few seconds, Tsunade shook his head. Wrong. If Sasuke had left the Akatsuki organization long ago, how could Sasuke appear at the Akatsuki organization base and fight Jiraiya with the leader of the Akatsuki organization? This thing doesn't make sense. Master Tsunade, since Uchiha Itachi has chosen to come back, why don't we clarify the matter? Lu Ju stood up at this time. He glanced at the others. There are so many ninjas in Konoha, there is no need to worry about him being able to escape. Plus Master Tsunade is here, so we can clarify the matter. Lu Ju's proposal made many Konoha shinobi fans agree very much. Now that Uchiha Itachi has arrived at Konoha, don't think about leaving easily. And there are so many Konoha shinobi who would let a Uchiha Itachi go if they faced one. Then they don't have to live anymore, and they all die. In addition, there is the existence of Konoha Hokage. Really don't worry too much. Tsunade put away his fists. Okay. Then let him talk about it. What's going on? Hearing this, Itachi himself was also relieved. If he really wanted to fight with Hokage and Konoha, his final result would not be too good. It's not good to hurt people with your hands, but you may be killed if you don't try your best. The scale of the battle is not easy to control. Itachi exhaled softly. Thank you, Hokage-sama. Judging from Itachi's attitude and tone, quite a few Konoha shinobi fans feel that Itachi seems to be really close to Yi. Sasuke has indeed left the Akatsuki organization since the Cloud Shinobi village invasion. And also killed 2 members of the Akatsuki organization. The leader of the Akatsuki organization was furious and must kill Sasuke. However, when it comes to this, Lu Ju feels that it doesn't make sense, if this is really the case. So why does Sasuke still appear in the base of the Akatsuki organization, and join forces with the leader of the Akatsuki organization to attack Master Jiraiya? There should be some reason for this. Itachi, you said earlier that you were an undercover agent arranged by Master Third Generation to the Akatsuki organization. Is this true? Lu Ju asked. Because whether what Itachi said is credible depends on whether Itachi can produce key evidence. If it was really arranged by Lord Third Generation, then Itachi, the sacrifice he made was not ordinary. And now returning to Konoha, I am afraid that he is also coming for his younger brother. Certainly. Master Third Generation once said that he left me a secret file, but in order not to be discovered by Danzo, he kept it at his home. I also have a note from my contact with Lord Third Generation. You can check the handwriting of Lord Third Generation at will. Itachi can produce these 2 pieces of evidence, so it has already demonstrated its credibility. In other words, Itachi, this guy who has always been bearing the name of rebellious ninja, is really Konoha's person. Then what he said, Sasuke left Akatsuki and killed 2 members of Akatsuki's organization, this matter cannot be false. But the inconsistency makes no sense at all. The problem here is probably not simple. And at this very moment, Sasuke, who came out of the land of rain, looked in the direction of the land of fire. I think I should send Jiraiya's body back. Now that he has been rescued, let's do it to the end and send the other party back. Jiraiya is a man Sasuke still admires a little, and if it is not because he wants to save himself, then Jiraiya cannot die. It's still because of myself. Let's go. Kimimaro, let's go to Konoha. To Konoha? Kimimaro, Master Sasuke, what are we going to Konoha for? You are Konoha's traitor. If you return to Konoha, wouldn't it be very dangerous? But Sasuke smiled. Relax, I'm just sending Jiraiya's body back, I'm not planning to do anything. Furthermore, if you want to keep me, no one can fall in the sleepy leaf. On the one hand, it is to send Jiraiya's body back, but on the other hand, Sasuke also wants to see how Itachi is doing. This guy decided to return to Konoha, but you must know that his identity is also a traitor. Returning to Konoha is likely not to be accepted, but to be arrested directly. If such a thing really happens, Sasuke still can't sit idly by. However, just when Sasuke was about to leave for Konoha, suddenly a black snake came quickly from the forest and came directly to Sasuke's feet. Leaning on the snake's body, he raised his head and looked at Sasuke. Sasuke took a look. This is Orochimaru's unique way of delivering messages. Raise your hand to make seals casually, and lightly tap on the snake's head. Then the snake opened its mouth and spit out a sealing scroll. Sasuke took the scroll, opened it and took a look. Suddenly felt a little strange. Orochimaru seems to be very anxious to see himself. The specific reason is not mentioned, but the situation seems to have reached the point of urgency. Master Orochimaru, is there any danger? Kimimaro is also watching the content on the reel. Sasuke shook his head. I don't know, go back and see if you know soon. Sasuke raised his hand and bit his finger, then patted the ground lightly. Summoning. Boom. In the next second, a giant eagle appeared at the feet of Sasuke and Kimimaro. He flew up with the two of them in an instant and swept towards the distance. This eagle-like summoning beast was made by Orochimaru for Sasuke. The white eagle looks very mighty. The speed is also very fast, which is very good for rushing. Yinren village, on the edge of a cliff not far outside. Here lies another base of Orochimaru. The base is not built on the edge of the cliff, but inside the cliff. This kind of place is basically impossible for ordinary people to find, but it is very easy for ninjas to fly over walls. It's too easy to get to a place like this. Sasuke stepped on the white eagle and fell straight down from the sky. One head enters the mouth of the cave. Then he jumped off the white eagle and landed on a platform in the cave. Kimimaro followed behind him. Master Sasuke. Kimimaro looked up at Sasuke, and as soon as he landed, he accepted Orochimaru's order, telling him to go to another place first, and wait for Sasuke to meet Orochimaru alone. Although Kimimaro didn't know what Lord Orochimaru wanted to say to Sasuke, Kimimaro still chose to obey Orochimaru's order. Although Sasuke gave him a second life, he would never have met Sasuke without Orochimaru. So Kimimaro still has great respect for Orochimaru. Go. Don't worry about me here. They have already arrived at the base of Yinren village, so there is no need to worry about Sasuke encountering any danger. So Kimimaro felt more at ease after leaving. Sasuke walked forward. This base is not the first time Sasuke has come. I have been here many times before, and Sasuke still remembers the road to this base clearly. Orochimaru was waiting for him somewhere in the base. Sasuke walked through the long passage, and after turning a few turns, he opened the rusty Madara gate in front of him. Enter this empty square and look at Orochimaru standing in the square. The space here is very huge, and it is also a space excavated underground. The area is already as huge as two birds' nest stadiums. Meeting in such an empty place, Sasuke suddenly had a strange premonition. Maybe Orochimaru wanted to. Sasuke-kun, you're here. Hearing Orochimaru's voice, Sasuke clearly felt something was wrong. Because Sasuke's voice is much more dynamic. The original Orochimaru was like a dying person, but now Orochimaru looks very alive. What's the matter? Call me back in such a hurry. Hearing this, Orochimaru smiled, turned around slowly and raised his hands and said to Sasuke. Thanks to the information given by Sasuke-kun, I actually found the Shinigami mask and successfully recovered my hands. Excited, Orochimaru looked like a child. It's like just getting a toy to show off to adults. Sasuke looked very speechless. Could it be that you guys were able to call me back from such a long distance because of this? Hearing that Orochimaru was in joy, he put away his smile and looked at Sasuke in front of him. He shook his head slightly. Of course not. I asked Sasuke-kun to come back to. Tell Sasuke-kun that I suddenly want to try again. Try it. What to try? When Sasuke was wondering, he suddenly felt the message from his ear. The body tilted slightly backwards, and a shuriken flew directly in front of Sasuke. The moment Sasuke raised his hand to catch the shuriken, he turned his head and looked in that direction. Impressively, it is the four people of Yinren, and they are running quickly towards the surroundings of this underground space at this moment. After standing still, they immediately began to seal. Sasuke frowned seeing their seals. 4 purple flame formation. In an instant, the 4 of them worked together again to release the 4 purple flame formations. The barrier rises and surrounds Sasuke. Sasuke now turned his head to look at Orochimaru. You want to try? Can you take my body? Hearing this, Orochimaru nodded while brushing his hair. That's right, Sasuke-kun, you guessed it right. No way, Sasuke-kun, your body is simply too tempting for me. It's a pity that I couldn't take your body when I didn't have hands before, but it's different now. Now that my hands have recovered, I will try again no matter what. Is this the farmer and the snake? Sasuke smiled helplessly. I kindly told Orochimaru Shinigami about the mask at the beginning, but I didn't expect to be avenged. Even so, though, Sasuke isn't too worried. The current Sasuke is not what it used to be, and Orochimaru still wants to plot his own body, so he is probably looking for death. Do you think you have the strength to defeat me now? Sasuke asked. Orochimaru was silent for a few seconds, then shook his head affirmatively. No. Sasuke-kun's strength is no longer comparable to before. In just a few months, Mr. Sasuke's strength has undergone earth-shaking changes, and even I am not sure of winning. FFLX. Having said that, Orochimaru raised his finger and pointed aside. Sasuke heard footsteps, and in that direction Sasuke saw a person approaching gradually. Wearing a black cloak, with orange hair, his figure looks very burly. This guy is heavy. I've made a lot of preparations to deal with Sasuke-kun. Another person appeared from the other direction. Sasuke looked in that direction, and it was Gurren. And the last footstep came from behind Orochimaru. But this time there are two people, a ghost lantern Watermoon and Uzumaki Xiangling. Sasuke looked at these people. He frowned slightly. So this counts as careful preparation. Hearing this, Orochimaru smiled. It seems Sasuke-kun doesn't take them seriously at all. Kimimaro, who was rushing over from the entrance while talking, looked at the scene in front of him. Even without using too much Chinese, he understood what happened. Orochimaru-sama is going to attack Sasuke-sama. Kimimaro is very helpless now, with Orochimaru-sama on one side and Sasuke-sama on the other. He doesn't know what to do. Both Sasuke and Orochimaru glanced at Kimimaro at the same time. And the two of them smiled at the same time. Kimimaro froze, he didn't know what to do. But the smiles of Sasuke and Orochimaru made him suddenly quiet down. Next second, Sasuke unbuttoned his coat and threw it aside. While one hand is on his hip, the other hand seems to be supporting the Kusanagi sword at his waist. Since you want to try it, then come and try it. Hearing this, Orochimaru smiled and waved his hand lightly. Shigego. Gurren and the two shot at the same time, rushing straight towards Sasuke. You are Uchiha Sasuke. I heard Master Orochimaru say that you are very strong, but I don't think you are very good. It was Chongo who spoke, and at this moment, Chongo was rushing straight towards Sasuke, with disdain written all over his face. However, following his first punch, Sasuke took a slight step backwards. He easily dodged Chongwu's fist, and then turned his head to look at Chongwu. So slow. In an instant, the relaxed look on Chongwu's face disappeared. At the same time, Gurren yelled loudly. Don't underestimate him, his strength is even feared by Master Orochimaru. Are you looking for death? A black lightning flashed in Sasuke's eyes while talking. And when the light appeared, Chongwu's body was attacked by lightning style. The whole person has been in a state of paralysis and stiffness for a short time. Punch. Sasuke didn't move his hands at all, he just raised his foot and kicked Wu-Wu's chest hard. Beep. The moment the roar sounded, Jugo felt as if his chest had been hit by a shell suddenly. All limbs lost consciousness in an instant. It flew upside down and slammed into the barrier of the purple flame formation fiercely. The purple flame instantly ignited Chongo's back. Kimimaro outside the barrier couldn't bear to see this scene, and silently closed his eyes. Chongwu, who fell on the ground, had a large piece of his chest sunken. Blood welled up in his mouth. At this moment, Orochimaru clapped his hands, as expected of Sasuke-kun. He almost killed the heavy zone with one blow. This guy's strength is among my subordinates, but he's pretty good. Except for Kimimaro, he is the strongest. Of course Sasuke knew about this. Crystal style, crystal breaking and subduing dragon technique. In an instant, the dragon formed from crystal rolled and circled towards Sasuke in an instant. Sasuke still didn't move too much. The curved knife stabbed out horizontally. With a light tap of the tip of the knife, the crystal dragon was stopped, and the bursting lightning style formed a huge net on the tip of the knife, rapidly spreading towards the body of the crystal dragon. Gurren kept outputting chakra in the mudra of both hands, but Sasuke smiled lightly. Plover. Sharp spear. Suddenly, the laser shot out from the tip of the knife directly penetrated the crystal dragon's body. Let the crystal dragon fall apart. Seeing Sasuke's understatement, Suigetsu blocked the attack of the two. The hand holding the ninja sword trembled a little. This guy. Why? So fierce. Is this kind of monster still something we can stop? Suigetsu looked at Orochimaru, and at this time Orochimaru also looked at him, as if urging him to act quickly. No way. Suigetsu didn't dare to stay, and directly used the body flicker technique to rush towards Sasuke. His body flicker technique speed is decent. An instant came to Sasuke's back and stabbed Sasuke's back with a knife. But in the next second, sparks burst out. Sasuke flipped the Kusanagi sword in his hand and bounced his ninja sword away easily. Looking at the black ninja sword, Suigetsu's eyes were full of shock. This guy has assimilated ninja swords to such an extent. This strange ninja sword seems to be like the 7 special ninja swords of Yuan Yin. They were all assimilated by the ninjas of the predecessors and the continuous chakra of the past dynasties, and the special abilities gradually appeared. These ninja knives are not just as simple as having a strange shape. They also have special abilities. Right now, Sasuke's ninja sword seems to have such a breath. Zzz. A sudden burst of lightning appeared in Shuei's eyes. At this moment, Sasuke swung the Kusanagi sword directly into Suigetsu's body, bang bang. Set it directly on the ground. Shuei struggled, but even with the secret technique of the ghost lamp family, it was difficult for her to become European. However, after being attacked by lightning style, his body could not be fully hydrated. It was fixed on the ground like jelly and could not move at all. And Sasuke didn't even look at him from the beginning to the end. All eyes were on Orochimaru. But, bastard, your attack, I will return it to you 1,000 times. Suddenly Chongo's voice sounded again, and Chongkon stood up from the ground and opened the sage transformation posture. It's just that because the natural energy is automatically absorbed into the body, Chongwu's second personality is activated. Chongwu, who has transformed into a berserk mode, sprays out strong natural energy, which is directly used as a driving force to accelerate. Charged towards Sasuke like a rocket. Xiangling, who was standing behind Orochimaru at the moment, was a little worried when she saw Sasuke was still. Get out of the way. This guy's power is terrifying. Such a handsome face, don't let it be ruined. However, in the next second Sasuke raised his hand, and his 5 fingers spread out to meet the fist that rushed towards me. Grab it directly. A handful. Grab your fist easily. Bang bang. At the same time, the roar sounded again, and the waves that were set off spread rapidly. Sasuke stood where he was except for a few times when his hair fluttered a little from the shockwave. There is no more action. Standing in place as stable as an old pine tree. Looking at the dust and smoke rolling up behind Sasuke, one can imagine how amazing the impact of this blow on Shigego was. However, Sasuke didn't shake at all. Standing where he was, there was no sign of taking a half step back. Jugo looked at Sasuke in surprise. The chakra on his body was still spraying crazily. However, Sasuke looked at him indifferently. Power. Too weak. Click. As soon as the voice fell, Chongwu's wrist was broken directly, and the moment Chongwu felt the pain and wanted to distance himself. Sasuke slapped his chest directly with lightning speed. It was obviously a close-range palm with no power, but it suddenly caused an even more astonishing storm. The dust and smoke swept across, and Zhang Wu was instantly sent flying. Turning around, Gurren was still preparing to use ninjutsu to attack. But in the next second, Sasuke's fingertips pointed towards her. Lightning style, discharge. A black thunder burst out from the fingertips and hit Gurren instantly. Her body instantly collapsed to the ground, directly losing her ability to fight. And Sasuke, who had done all this, still stood there and looked at Dada indifferently. That's all for the warm-up, let's start our battle soon, these temptations are no longer necessary. Hearing this, Orochimaru smiled. Indeed, he easily handles Juwu and others without any effort, and even Sasuke doesn't even need to move in the face of their attacks. Stand still and easily kill a few people in seconds. No amount of testing with such strength is useless. Orochimaru raised his hand and started making mudras. But the moment Orochimaru formed the first seal, Sasuke was stunned. Impure world reincarnation? Is this guy going to summon the first generation and second generation again? Sasuke-kun seems to know what I want to do. I hope Mr. Sasuke understands, there is no way to deal with your strength, and I alone can't deal with it. Orochimaru said with a smile on his face. Then he slapped his palm on the ground. Immediately after the next second, the 2 wooden coffins rose instantly. Look at the 4, written on the 2 wooden coffins. Sasuke froze for a moment. What does this mean? Isn't it first generation and second Hokage? Bang bang. The wooden coffin was opened, and Sasuke looked at the people inside. He froze for a moment, then smiled. I thought your impure world reincarnation was first generation and second Hokage. Hearing this, Orochimaru shrugged. No way, if I want the 2 of impure world reincarnation's heyday, I probably can't control it, but if I don't have impure world reincarnation's heyday, I can't beat you. So I settled for the second best and chose these 2 to cooperate with me. Although Orochimaru said so, Sasuke felt that he should actually have better options. But, as Orochimaru said, Orochimaru may not be able to control the other shadows of impure world reincarnation. If they were not summoned in their heyday, then they would have no way to compete with themselves. It seems that Orochimaru must also be very distressed. Orochimaru. It's you. You bastard. How dare you? One of the people who was reincarnation by impure world has already started to curse at the big snake. However, Orochimaru didn't give him too much time for nonsense. Throwing a seal directly into it, successfully controlled him. Xiang Ling looked at this person. Who is this? Why does he seem to be very angry with Lord Orochimaru? Orochimaru, who was said to be controlling another person, smiled. I killed this guy. Orochimaru added, accurately speaking, it should have been killed by me and Kimimaro together. Sasuke looked at the seal of the fourth generation who had lost his spirit in his eyes. Rosa. As Tsunade's fourth Kazekage, he's also pretty pathetic indeed. Killed by Orochimaru before even playing, although it was done with Kimimaro. But for a majestic generation of Kazekage to die so easily, it is indeed pitifully weak. However, Kimimaro's strength at that time should be very tyrannical. Cooperating with Orochimaru can indeed suppress fourth Kazekage in all directions. You can know it by referring to the current Kimimaro. Now Kimimaro has no problem fighting Hokage alone. Not to mention a fourth Kazekage. After that battle, though, Kimimaro's condition became more serious. I guess it's also because of fourth Kazekage. Sasuke looked at the other one. This guy is also a shadow, but it is the fourth Mizukage of Hidden Village. Although short in stature, he is not a brat, and as Mizukage, this guy is also tragic. Controlled by Obito with the distinguished heavenly gods, creating Kirigakure's blood mist policy, which has remained undiscovered for years. In the end, I don't know how he died. These two should be regarded as the two weakest among the shadows. No wonder Orochimaru was only able to control the two of them perfectly. If it were another shadow, TNG might not be able to do it with the current power. Only relying on these two? Do you think you can beat me? Hearing this, Orochimaru smiled. Of course not, there is still me. Sasuke-kun. I am one of the Sannin no matter what. Sasuke-kun, don't underestimate me. Underestimate? Sasuke will not underestimate Orochimaru. However, the current Sasuke can no longer care about these. Okay. Since you think it's okay, let's try it, but have you thought about how to deal with my speed? Not to mention anything else, just Sasuke's amazing speed is already a headache. If you don't have the speed or strength to match it, let alone fight Sasuke. There is no power to fight at all. Lightning style. Apply fast. Flash. In an instant, black thunder flowed from Sasuke's body. At this moment, Shigego, Gurren, and Suigetsu, who were restrained by lightning style, were all looking at Sasuke. This guy's lightning style seems to be released easily when he wants to release it without any seal at all. Swish. Suddenly black lightning burst out directly, and Sasuke's figure disappeared suddenly. Of the three who saw this scene, only Honglian shook her head helplessly, and the rest of Shueui and Chongwu seemed to have seen a ghost. Bang bang. Suddenly a golden sand wall rises directly, blocking Sasuke's attack. Sasuke's lightning-fast attack was blocked by fourth Kazecage's gold dust. Sasuke, however, has no mood swings at all. Continue to accelerate and rush towards the other side. Layers upon layers of placer gold blocked Sasuke's way. However, Sasuke is like a lion majesty, flashing rapidly. The strong wind brought by the black lightning rolled up, and Sasuke rushed towards the big snake like a bamboo. And at this moment Orochimaru's voice sounded. Sasuke-kun, don't be so anxious, the fun has just begun. Is this like trying to fight me to the death? There are many snake hands in the latent image. Orochimaru suddenly opened his hands, and countless snakes suddenly emerged from his chest. Shooting in all directions, which naturally includes Sasuke's position. Seeing such a wide range of attacks, Sasuke also understood. It appears that Orochimaru has indeed come prepared. In terms of speed, Orochimaru naturally couldn't keep up with him, but Orochimaru could rely on a huge range of attacks to interfere with him. For example, now, these snakes that are coming, stop Sasuke's footsteps, raise his hand and take out kunai, and quickly cut off the snakes that are coming. And at this instant alluvial gold wrapped around Sasuke's ankle. Sasuke froze for a moment. What a speed. It is obvious that alluvial gold cannot move so fast according to reason, but at this moment in Luo Sha's hands, alluvial gold is faster than Gaara's sand. However, Sasuke overlooked a problem. Luo Sha in the state of impure world reincarnation is basically in the peak state all the time. So even if it is the extreme overdraft chakra, allowing alluvial gold to move super fast, it is not a problem. After all, Luo Sha's body will not suffer any harm. The moment both feet were controlled, fourth Mizukage Yagura also made a direct shot. Swish swish swish. The water springs that suddenly burst out from the surrounding ground formed something like a whip, and wrapped around Sasuke's body directly. While fixing Sasuke's body, guide the lightning on Sasuke's body to the ground. The lightning intensity visible to the naked eye on Sasuke has weakened a lot. And at this moment Orochimaru's voice sounded. Whoosh. Another Kusanagi sword shot out, straight from Orochimaru's mouth toward Sasuke. This is Orochimaru's Kusanagi sword, also known as the Kusanagi sword, a sword that can be controlled by Orochimaru even if he is not at hand. Extremely sharp. Sasuke admired the series of attacks. Orochimaru's battle plan was very good and targeted. But that's all. Losing. Watching the Kusanagi sword coming out. Sasuke's eyes narrowed slightly. Moment. Mangekyo Sharingan opens, Susanoo explodes. Although only the basic type of Susanoo exploded, the skeleton formed suddenly by the purple flame burning blocked Orochimaru's attack. The defunct Kusanagi sword flew back into Orochimaru's hand again in the air. At the same time, he took advantage of the situation and asked Luo Sha and Yagura to control him. Sasuke looked at the two fourth-generation shadows flanking him from left to right. Look at Orochimaru in front of you again. Nice design, although water style can't restrain lightning style, but it can make my lightning style power be attracted away. Illuvium's defense and control abilities are very strong. It seems that you are indeed prepared, Lord Orochimaru. Hearing Sasuke's compliment, Orochimaru smiled a bit. Of course, Mr. Sasuke, do you think I'm not serious about dealing with you? 27, heard that Sasuke smiled. Understood. It seems that Orochimaru really wanted to get his body, but at the same time, he didn't have any killing intent. This also means that Orochimaru just wants to give it a try, but even if he tries, Orochimaru is trying his best. It seems that I can't be careless. After all, Orochimaru is one of the Sannin. As a Sannin's Orochimaru, his strength is also at the real cage level. In this case, it is definitely not enough to relax his vigilance. After all, Lion Majesty hunts are usually one-hit kills, and if you can't get a one-hit kill, the snake won't do anything. Just when Sasuke was thinking, there was a sudden moment. Sha Jin swept from behind. Sasuke didn't look back and made a random seal with his left hand. Earth style, earth flow wall. Boom. The instantly raised earth wall blocked the impact of the placer gold. The earth wall did not shake at all, and even cracks never appeared. But alluvial gold quickly bypassed the earthen wall and swept towards Sasuke again. Sasuke opened his mouth and took a sharp breath while laughing. Water style. Big water blast. In an instant, the roaring sound of running water completely shocked Shuei. Shui Yu was dumbfounded seeing this scene. As a ninja of the Grandmaster water style, he has never seen a water style of this scale. Sasuke spit out a huge wave directly. The terrifying flowing water swept away, blocking the incoming placer gold, and at the same time, the water wetted the placer gold and increased the weight of the placer gold. It also increases the controllability of 4th Kage Luosha. The placer gold will slow down so that Sasuke has more time to react. But at this moment, in the tumbling water, 4th Mizukage Yagura rushed towards Sasuke, waving a strangely shaped iron rod in his hand. Directly towards Sasuke and waved fiercely. Sasuke's Susanoo instantly summoned a single arm, and directly grabbed 4th Mizukage with one hand. He looked at 4th Mizukage coldly. As expected of Mizukage, she still has such a moving speed in the water. Don't think that second Hokage Tobirama is the only one who has developed the ability to move quickly in water. Although the Mizukages haven't developed any well-formed ninjutsu, they obviously have their own unique ways to move quickly in the water. Just like now. However, when Sasuke was about to turn around to deal with Luo Sha's attack that was brewing, suddenly a strong chakra wave erupted. 4th Mizukage Yagura broke free from Susanoo's grasp. Sasuke turned around in surprise. Red chakra energy flows through Yagura's body. Sasuke froze for a moment. This is chakra from Three Tails? Sasuke turned to look at Kimimaro. Looking at Kimimaro's pale face, plus the way he hurried over earlier. Now Sasuke understands. It seems that Orochimaru called Kimimaro away before, just to take away the chakra of 3 tails from Kimimaro's body. Of course, only the chakra of the tailed beast was taken away, and the tailed beast was still in Kimimaro's body. With chakra drained, it won't take long for 3 tails to recover on their own. However, the chakra that was taken away now seems to be injected into the body of 4th Mizukage Yugura. Beep. While Sasuke was thinking, Yugura bombarded Sasuke Susanoo in a circle. The original blow with little power directly crushed Sasuke's Susanoo. The sudden growth of coral made it impossible for Susanoo to maintain its shape. The moment Susanoo dissipated, a large amount of alluvial gold fell from the sky and surrounded Sasuke almost instantly. And at this moment Orochimaru also attacked. Snakes swimming fast in the water appeared from all directions and bit toward Sasuke. A series of attacks caught Sasuke by surprise. But it is not impossible. Lightning style took the lead in breaking out. Flashing thunder flashed across the water. All the snakes lurking in the water were paralyzed by lightning and could not attack. And then Sasuke's body shrank towards the water, and then the water-style wave recording was launched. Sasuke moved at super high speed in the water, avoiding alluvial gold's attack directly. Immediately afterwards, almost at the same time, behind Luo Sha, he broke through the water and jumped out directly. He kicked Luo Sha hard. At the same time Sasuke shot a black stick from his hand. Nail it straight on Luo Sha's thigh. Luo Sha's body stiffened for a moment. Sasuke raised his hand and black sticks appeared in an instant, and he swung his arms quickly, throwing the black sticks one after another. For a moment, it was like a black rain, and disappear quickly with the water flow on the ground. A roar sounded, and Luo Sha was pinned to the ground by dense black sticks, unable to move at all. Luo Sha lost control, and Orochimaru's eyes narrowed slightly. What is this thing that can make the people of Impure World reincarnation unable to act? While Orochimaru was stunned for a moment, the roar of thunder and lightning sounded again. At the same time, it is accompanied by the sound of high-speed flowing water. Orochimaru looked up, and Sasuke had come to Yugura, despite chakra of 3 tails. But at the moment when Sasuke punched Yugura at close range, the water-style, hard vortex water blade in his right hand was thrown out directly. The water blade that hit Yugura instantly burst open, and the violently swirling water almost swallowed Yugura in the blink of an eye. Immediately after Yugura's body was crushed, the landing was restored again because of the Impure World reincarnation, but the wood style that grew under the feet in the next second quickly wrapped around Yugura's body. Wood style began to frantically absorb the chakra of the tailed beast. The tailed beast chakra inside Yugura, which is visible to the naked eye, is accelerating the growth of wood style. In a blink of an eye, a towering tree grew like this. Yugura was trapped in the tree and could not move at all. And now, only Sasuke and Orochimaru are left. After the water flow swept through, Shuei and the others were basically out of trouble. Although it was terribly flooded, it also restored freedom of movement. They watched Sasuke's barrage of attacks just now. It's just. The 2 former Mizukage Hefeng shadows are helpless. Absolute pressure. So scary. Orochimaru-sama, I'm afraid. Not my opponent.